while we stick to 267, they to 176. There is a way out. Why don't they rely upon that? Only one that means we are not prepared. We are always insisting on 276, 267. And also the Prime Minister should be here. But they say only Home Minister. You should find a way out. Otherwise, what is the meaning of?
Sir, discuss it amongst yourselves. Find a way out. I will continue with the business now. 1 second. Before I take legislative business, I am listening to the Honorable LOP. Then I will move to legislative business.
Honorable Chairman, हमारा इंटेंशन यही था कि डिटेल डिस्कशन होगा, ये सब बाहर आएगा। और ये बीच में तो होम मिनिस्टर 3 बार गए, 3 बार को जाकर क्या करे? इसीलिए हमको बात करने नहीं दे रहे और प्राइम मिनिस्टर आने के लिए तैयार नहीं, गवर्नमेंट हमारी बात सुनने के लिए तैयार नहीं, यहाँ पर ह्यूमिलेशन कर रहे हैं। इसीलिए हम प्रोटेस्ट करके वॉकआउट करते हैं।
श्रीमती सुलता देव, प्लीज। श्रीमती सुलता देव,
सर,
you were making good contribution.
सर, मैं आपसे,
and you were making
excuse me,
really important inputs also.
सर, मेरा आपसे दरखास्त है सर, मैं पहले से बोलना चाहती हूँ क्योंकि मैं क्या बोले मुझे अभी भी याद नहीं है।
You may start from the beginning.
Okay.
Your time will start now.
Thank you so much, sir. Honorable Chairman, sir, ये the Constitution Schedule Caste Order Amendment Bill 2023 पर बोलने के लिए मुझे मौका दिया गया, मैं इसका आभारी हूँ। मैं मेरे पार्टी बीजू जनता दल के तरफ से ये बिल को समर्थन करती हूँ। आज विश्व आदिवासी दिवस है। मैं ये सदन के जरिए सारे आदिवासियों को अभिनंदन जनाती हूँ मेरे तरफ से। ये जो बिल आ रहा है ये छत्तीसगढ़ में मेहरा माहर ये समुदाय के लिए आ रहा है। ये बिल पास होगा तो इसमें छत्तीसगढ़ का कम से कम 2 लाख अनुसूचित जाति इसमें जुड़े जाएंगे। छत्तीसगढ़, मैं एक बात बोलूँगी, छत्तीसगढ़ में 36 लाख अनुसूचित जाति इसमें शामिल हो जाएंगे ये बिल के पारित होने के बाद में। भारत में टोटल पॉपुलेशन का 20 करोड़ अनुसूचित जाति है और देखा जाए तो छत्तीसगढ़ में, सिर्फ छत्तीसगढ़ में बिल पास होने के बाद में 36 लाख अनुसूचित जाति हो जाएंगे। टोटल भारतवर्ष में 16.6% पॉपुलेशन का अनुसूचित जाति है और छत्तीसगढ़ में 12% हो जाएंगे। मगर मैडम मैं ये बोलना चाहूँगी कि बहुत सारे योजनाएं होती हैं, जो योजना ये अनुसूचित जाति जो है जुड़ने के बाद में वो लोगों को मिलेगा, जैसे शिक्षा का हो, स्वास्थ्य का हो, कहीं पर इलेक्शन में खड़े होने का हो, फिर कहीं पर सब्सिडी का हो, लोन का हो, ये सब उसमें उन लोगों को ये प्रावधान मिल जाएगा। ओडिशा की माननीय मुख्यमंत्री नवीन पटनायक जी ने भी एक रिकमेंडेशन किया था कि इन जातियों को भी एससी सीट में डाला जाए, जिसमें सियाल, मोहरा, मेर, चिकबड़ाई का, और यदि देखा जाए तो हम लोग चमार बोलते हैं, चंबार भी है। इस सब को भी उसमें शामिल करने के लिए रिकमेंडेशन दिया गया था। सारे भारतवर्ष में 80% 17% है, मगर शिक्षा, एम्प्लॉयमेंट और निर्वाचित के लिए बस 15% उनका रिजर्वेशन मिल रहा है। जब 17% है तो 17% मिलना चाहिए। मैं और एक बात बोलूँगी, ये कुछ दिन पहले 7 तारीख को जन्म और मृत्यु का, एक मिनट मैडम, जन्म और मृत्यु का जो रजिस्ट्रेशन का जो बिल पारित हुआ, ये इन लोगों के लिए भी बहुत कारगर साबित होगा, क्योंकि ये लोग जन्म के कारण वो लोग रजिस्ट्रेशन कुछ नहीं कर पाते, आगे चल के पढ़ाई में उनको तकलीफ होता था, उन लोगों के बच्चों के लिए बहुत अच्छा। और एक ही बात है, मुझे कहीं ना कहीं मुझे ये बात मतलब आंदोलित करता है, अचंभित करता है कि हम लोग जब अनुसूचित जाति के ऊपर इतना ध्यान दे रहे हैं, आज जब से व्यवस्था हुई है सुप्रीम कोर्ट की, आज तक सुप्रीम कोर्ट में सिर्फ 5 विचारपति है जो अनुसूचित जाति के, और देखा जाए सारा भारतवर्ष में 850 जो विचारपति है हाई कोर्ट में, उनमें से बस 24 है। इनको यदि हम देखें कि इनको प्रमोट कैसे किया जाए, उनके लिए भी व्यवधान होना चाहिए। मैं फिर से ये बिल को समर्थन करती हूँ। थैंक यू सो मच। वंदे उत्कल जननी।
थैंक यू। ऑनरेबल डॉक्टर सुमर सिंह सोलंकी, 3 मिनट्स।
धन्यवाद। माननीय उपसभापति महोदय, नर्मदे हर में माननीय उपसभापति महोदय, मैं संविधान अनुसूचित जातियां आदेश संशोधन अधिनियम 2023 के समर्थन में बोलने के लिए खड़ा हुआ हूं, और इस अधिनियम को छत्तीसगढ़ राज्य में अनुसूचित जातियों की सूची को संशोधित करने के लिए संविधान अनुसूचित जातियां आदेश 1950 में संशोधन करके किया गया है। इस सूची में महार और मेहरा को शामिल करने का प्रस्ताव है। इन जातियों को संविधान अनुसूचित जातियां आदेश 1950 के भाग 23 छत्तीसगढ़ में प्रविष्ट 33 के स्थान पर प्रतिस्थापित किया जाएगा। माननीय उपसभापति महोदया, मैं कहना चाहता हूं कि जब भी सदन में कोई महत्वपूर्ण विषय आता है, जब भी सदन में कोई महत्वपूर्ण विषय या बिल आता है और जो आदिवासियों के और अनुसूचित जाति के भाइयों के हितैषी होने का ढोंग करते थे, वे आज सदन से बाहर चले गए हैं। वे जब भी आदिवासियों के हित की बात आती है तो सदन में चर्चा से भाग जाते हैं। माननीय उपसभापति महोदया, मैं ये भी कहना चाहता हूं कि बिल 2023 को लोकसभा में पेश किया गया था और इसी मानसून सत्र में ये बिल लोकसभा द्वारा पारित भी किया गया है। मैं माननीय प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी एवं सामाजिक न्याय और अधिकारिता मंत्री माननीय वीरेंद्र कुमार खटीक जी को हृदय की गहराइयों से धन्यवाद देता हूं और आभार भी व्यक्त करता हूं कि देश के कोने कोने में इस प्रकार से पिछड़ी और छोटी जातियां जो अभी तक मुख्य धारा से वंचित थे, उनको मुख्य धारा में लाने का काम किया जा रहा है। मैं एक बार फिर से माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी का आभार व्यक्त करता हूं। आपके माध्यम से छत्तीसगढ़ के हमारे गरीब भाइयों और बहनों की जिंदगी बदलने का काम हमारी सरकार कर रही है। और ऐसे समय में विपक्ष, जिन्होंने 60 साल तक आदिवासियों का, अनुसूचित जनजातियों का, अनुसूचित जातियों की भलाई का ढोंग करते आए हैं, उन्होंने सिर्फ 60 साल तक राजनीतिक रोटियां सेकने का काम किया। और वो हम सदन के लोग और देश की 140 करोड़ जनता देख रही है कि वो आज सदन से फिर भाग गए हैं और पिछले लंबे समय से विपक्ष हमारा सदन में उपस्थित नहीं है। और जब जब आदिवासियों का और अनुसूचित जातियों के भाइयों और बहनों के कल्याण की बात आती है सदन में, तब वो अपने क्षेत्र के होते हुए भी आज छत्तीसगढ़ के सांसद भी यहाँ पर सदन में उपस्थित नहीं है। तो छत्तीसगढ़ के भाइयों और बहनों के हित की चिंता कांग्रेस को नहीं है, चिंता हमारे विपक्ष को नहीं है। मैं आज माननीय सभापति महोदय, मैं आपके माध्यम से हमारे विपक्ष को बताना चाहता हूं कि आपकी सरकारों ने पिछले 60 सालों में अनुसूचित जाति और जनजाति समाज को केवल वोट बैंक समझ रखा है, जिससे कभी इस समाज के विकास की चिंता नहीं की। ये हमेशा मगरमच्छ के आंसू बहाने का काम करते हैं, ढोंग करते हैं, विपक्ष को बोलने का हक भी नहीं है। जो कुछ भी दिया है माननीय नरेंद्र मोदी जी की सरकार ने दिया है। हमारे जनजातीय भाइयों का कल्याण करने का काम किया है, हमारे अनुसूचित जाति के भाइयों का कल्याण करने का काम किया है। कश्मीर में धारा 370 को समाप्त कर हमारे अनुसूचित जाति और जनजाति के भाइयों को आरक्षण देने का काम किया है। इस माननीय सभापति महोदय, मैं आपके माध्यम से सदन को अवगत कराना चाहता हूं कि मध्य प्रदेश के सागर जिले में संत रविदास महाराज का 100 करोड़ रुपए की लागत से देश का सबसे बड़ा भव्य और दिव्य मंदिर बनाने का काम किया जा रहा है। यह मध्य प्रदेश सरकार और माननीय नरेंद्र मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में किया जा रहा है। मैं इस अवसर पर इतना ही कहना चाहता हूं कि विपक्ष के लोग बाबा साहब की बात करते हैं, विपक्ष के लोग बाबा साहब की बात करते हैं। मैं उनसे पूछना चाहता हूं कि आप अनुसूचित जातियों के भाइयों के हित के जब बिल आता है सदन में, तब आप सदन से भाग जाते हैं। मैं इस अवसर पर हमारे देश की सरकारों ने अनुसूचित जाति के भाइयों और बहनों के कल्याण के लिए निरंतर काम कर रही है। और अंत में अपनी बात कहना चाहता हूं कि रेत पर हम नाम लिखते नहीं, क्योंकि रेत पर नाम टिकते नहीं, सभापति महोदया, रेत पर नाम हम लिखते नहीं क्योंकि रेत पर नाम टिकते नहीं। पुनः सुन लो विपक्ष वालों, पत्थर दिल हम, जो नाम सीने पर लिखते हैं वो कभी मिटते नहीं है। मैं इस बिल का समर्थन करता हूं जो छत्तीसगढ़ के मेरे अनुसूचित जाति के भाई और बहनों के जिंदगी बदलने का काम करता हूं। और मैं माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी को और माननीय मंत्री जी को और हमारी सरकार को एक बार फिर से धन्यवाद देना चाहता हूं। उन लाखों भाइयों और बहनों की तरफ से बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। जय हिंद, नर्मदे हर।
थैंक यू। ऑनरेबल श्री कनक मेडला रवींद्र कुमार।
Thank you, Vice Chairman, Madam, for giving this opportunity. This bill includes a particular group in the SC category, but the question is, without there being any infrastructure, mere giving ST status is a little use, because they are living in very pathetic condition in the society. Employment comes after that. Without creating any infrastructure, me giving the SC status is also no use. They are facing so many troubles, and the government is not providing in infrastructure and medical facilities. They have to be provided by the respective state governments since it is a state subject. It is the state government. Another major issue is we have to protect the lands of the STs. And we have to protect the safeguard the interest of their standards of living. Some of the lands belonging to the SCs are being occupied, and also by amending the existing acts, and they are taking away the lands of the SCs in the state of Andhra Pradesh. Now it is coming to the employment comes under after that. Sir, I will give an example in the state of Andhra Pradesh. My senior colleague has already mentioned about the scheme being implemented in the present government, but unfortunately the situation in the pathetic condition. Another major issue is we have to, sir, there is an act to protect the SC's lands, but the state government choose not to implement the act. The reason behind it is the officers and hands in regularity. Sir, it is the subject with regard to the state of Andhra Pradesh, another important aspect, that the central government has allocated certain funds to the SC/ST sub-plan. The state government has been given to other states. That funds have totally diverted by the Andhra Pradesh government for the purpose of utilizing and diverting the funds. In order to substantiate this contention, the member of National Commission for Scheduled Tribes, Mr. K. Ramulu, visited the state of Andhra Pradesh and found that there were a diversion of funds in the state government from SC plan. So there are some other important issues. Under the ST sub-plan, the government allocated certain funds from 2019 to 2021. Social welfare sent to the extent of 8,400 crores were diverted by the state government for other purposes by issuing GOs, memos, contrary to the rules made by the central government. Likewise, tribal welfare also. Funds to the extent of 1,000 crores were diverted by the government. Now, half minute. Likewise, now the state government brought the amendment to the SC lands, and they wanted to take away the lands by the ruling party authorities, and they are occupying the lands under the respective amendments. And apart from that, there is no law and order, even day in and day out. Atrocities and attacks on SC women and also SC doctors. Some of the false cases also foisted against the SC cases. This has to be protected. Mere giving SC status is not sufficient. The central government has to take care of and protect the interest of the SCs, particularly in Andhra Pradesh. Thank you, ma'am.
Please conclude. Please. Honorable Sri Subhash Chandra Bose Pillai.
Reorganization, sir.
By April, even that floor member also is going away, madam. There will not be any representation in the house.
That's why he's speaking last, no? Last speech. Last speech.
Respected Madam, thank you very much for giving the opportunity to speak on this bill, Madam. The object of this bill is to modify the existing list of scheduled castes in Chhattisgarh by including certain communities, unprivileged communities, but Mahara, Mehra communities. These are all including communities, to be including communities. The proposal has received unanimous concurrence from Registrar General of India and National Commission of Scheduled Caste. The Mahar community are the original inhabitants of Maharashtra, and the state is believed to be named after them. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, the father of the Indian Constitution, also belonged to the Mahar community. Since time immemorial, the Mahar community has faced harsh discrimination from the upper castes. After 1949, when the Constitution outlawed caste discrimination, they began to fight for their rights under the leadership of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Ma'am, the positives of this bill is, one, the inclusion of these communities in the scheduled castes list will unlock multitude opportunities for them across various domains. Education. By granting them reservations in educational institutions, the bill can pave the way for increased literacy and access to better educational facilities, empowering the younger generation with brighter prospects. Employment. Reservation grant in government jobs and public sector enterprises will enhance their employability. Madam, the annual budget shows is the commitment and economic empowerment of weaker sections of society by allocating 38,060 crores for the BC component and 20,000 crores for the SC component and 6,929 crores for the ST component in this current year. I urge the government to fulfill its commitment to the well-being of the sections to ensure that the allocated funds are effectively utilized to create opportunities for their socio-economic growth and development. The Andhra Pradesh government sub-plan approach has had a tremendous impact on the uplift of the marginalized communities. In its budget, the Andhra Pradesh allocated 4,360 crores towards Andhra Pradesh scheduled caste corporations. Besides education and economic empowerment, there is a need to promote diversity of and representation in the judiciary. It is shocking that since the establishment of the Supreme Court, there have been only 5 judges from scheduled caste. There are only 5 judges from the scheduled caste. Currently, only 24 out of 850 High Court judges hail from scheduled caste community. 14 of these courts have no SC judge at all. This is very, very pretty. The government must implement policies to increase the inclusion of qualified and deserving candidates from SC backgrounds in the judicial system. Scholarships and training programs are needed to enhance the access and opportunities, ensuring a fair and inclusive judiciary that reflects the diversity of our nation.
Honorable M. Thambidurai.
I am concluding, Madam. This amendment further strengthens the unity in diversity, where every citizen is treated with dignity and respect, irrespective of their background. With these sessions, on behalf of the YSR Congress Party, I support this bill.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chairman, Madam. On behalf of ADMK Party, I am supporting the bill brought to make the amendment the Constitution to include certain communities as scheduled caste in state of Chhattisgarh. Madam, I have always, our party, ADMK Party, is for the champion for the reservation for the SC people and ST people and also OBC, MBC. Our Dividend Party is based and always fighting for the social justice of the for the poor people. The caste must be abolished. That is our main goal. In Tamil Nadu, in spite of that, our Honorable former Chief Minister MGR, founder of the ADMK Party, made the reservation for SC, ST, and MBC and BC. 69% he made the provision. Then afterwards, former Chief Minister, Madam Jayalalitha ji, she made that 69% as a constitutional provision, including in the Parliament in the 9th schedule. That is, she succeeded in that. Madam, and one more request we are making, the Boyer community. This is the community, Boyer is one of the caste. In Karnataka, the Boyer community is SC community, belongs to the SC community. But neighboring state, Tamil Nadu, if you take my place is Hosur Krishnagiri area, it's only a few kilometers away from Bangalore. That community here called OBC. Therefore, this Boyer community is a very poor people working very hard, stone cutting and everything, construction activities involved. Therefore, our ADMK party is demanding to include this Boyer community in the list of SC community. This is a major thing, madam, because social justice can be given based on the caste system in India. We unfortunately, in India, our Hindu system, caste is prevalent in that. Because of the caste, the people are treated different way. Therefore, social justice we cannot get unless we give the reservation and uplift them not to economically and other getting employment there. Therefore, this is the madam I am requesting through Honorable Minister to give social justice, which our Edappadi Palaniswamy is heading our party. He is always fighting for this kind of social justice based on Dravidian movement. And based on that, on behalf of Edappadi Palaniswamy and ADMK party, I request Honorable Minister to include this Boyer community, stone cutting people, labor people, poor people, when they are treated in Karnataka as SC, that must be, this community must be included in Tamil Nadu as SC community. This is my humble request. I hope that Minister will consider and do that, including these people. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Honorable Sri B. Vijayasai Reddy.
Madam, on behalf of my party, YSR Congress Party, and it's not Congress Party, YSR Congress Party, madam. please take note of that, madam. Not part of so-called INDA also. Sir, madam, I support on behalf of my party, YSR Congress Party, and also my leader, YS Jagan Mohan Reddy Garu, who is considered to be a savior of SC, ST, BC communities. Support this bill, madam, wholeheartedly. Now, instead of talking on the bill, I have no other option but to counter the allegations that have been made by my opponent, Ravindra Kumarji. That's only 2 minutes, madam. Recognizing the need for the holistic...
Only 3 minutes.
2 minutes, madam. 2 minutes. Recognizing the need for holistic upliftment of SC and ST communities in the state, Andhra Pradesh government under the stewardship of YS Jagan Mohan Reddy Garu has taken wide range of initiatives, madam. And the point number 1, YSR pension kanuka. There are so many welfare schemes that have been introduced for the upliftment of SCs. YSR, first one, YSR pension kanuka, 2,600 crores released to 12 lakh ST pensioners. Madam, point number 2, YSR Cheyuta, 1,200 rupees 1,200 released to 6.4 lakh SC women to help them develop entrepreneurship skills, madam. Number 3, Jagananna Vidya Divena, 340 crore incurred towards reimbursement of fee for 2.3 lakh SC students. Next, point number D, government introduced, AP government has introduced a new scheme, Jagananna Videshi Vidya Divena, to provide financial assistance to eligible students belonging to SC, ST, BC, minority, EBC to pursue higher studies in top 200 universities as per the QS World University rankings, madam. Madam, last point, the free power to 200 units, up to 200 units, is provided to 17 lakh SC households every month. But the state efforts must be supplemented by the Honorable Minister from the Union government. I request the Union Minister to supplement all the schemes and support the state in upliftment of SC, ST, BC minority communities, madam. Thank you very much. Thank you for the
Thank you.
opportunity to support the bill wholeheartedly.
Honorable Dr. Virendra Kumar to reply the discussion.
धन्यवाद उपाध्यक्ष महोदय।
Not possible.
मैं धन्यवाद देना चाहता हूं छत्तीसगढ़ राज्य के अनुसूचित जातियों में मेहरा और माहिरा समुदाय को शामिल करने के संबंध में सदन में इस चर्चा में भाग लेने वाले हमारे सभी माननीय सदस्यगण, सुलता देव जी, डॉक्टर सुमेर सिंह सोलंकी जी, कनक मेंढा रविंद्र कुमार जी, सुभाष चंद्र बोस जी, एम थम्बी दुरई जी, विजय साई रेड्डी जी, मैं सभी का हृदय की गहराइयों से धन्यवाद करना चाहता हूं, जिन्होंने समाज की सबसे अंतिम पंक्ति के अंतिम छोर पर रहने वाले हमारे छत्तीसगढ़ के जो मेहरा और माहिरा समुदाय के जो हमारे बंधु हैं, ये बिल जब लोकसभा से पारित होकर यहां पर आया, इस अवधि में छत्तीसगढ़ में इस समुदाय के बंधुओं के द्वारा लगातार संपर्क स्थापित किया जा रहा था। उनके द्वारा यह अपेक्षा की जा रही थी कि इसको राज्यसभा में शीघ्र सर्वानुमति से इसको पास कराया जाए, और जितने भी माननीय सदस्यों ने इस चर्चा में भाग लिया, उनकी जो अभिव्यक्ति निकल के आई, जो प्रतिध्वनि निकल के आई, सभी की प्रतिध्वनि इस बिल के समर्थन में निकल के आई, हमारे अनुसूचित जाति वर्ग के हमारे छत्तीसगढ़ के बंधुओं के समर्थन में निकल के आई। मैं फिर से उनका धन्यवाद करना चाहता हूं। डॉक्टर भीमराव अंबेडकर जी के समता, समानता और समरसता और पंडित दीनदयाल उपाध्याय जी का जो अंत्योदय की अवधारणा का सोच है, इसको सही मायने में समाज के हमारे वर्ग के जो ऐसे बंधु हैं, उन बंधुओं के सामाजिक, आर्थिक, शैक्षिक उत्थान के लिए, उनकी शिक्षा के लिए, उनके स्वास्थ्य के लिए, आवास के लिए देश के प्रधानमंत्री आदरणीय नरेंद्र मोदी जी के द्वारा पिछले 9 वर्षों में जो योजनाएं बनाई गई, उनको जमीनी धरातल पर उतारा गया, उसके परिणाम आज समाज में प्रत्यक्ष रूप से दिखाई दे रहे हैं। अनुसूचित जाति वर्ग के मन में एक विश्वास का भाव पैदा हुआ है। अभी हमारे डॉक्टर सुमेर सिंह सोलंकी जी बोल रहे थे कि 60 साल तक पंचायत से लेकर पार्लियामेंट तक जिन लोगों ने राज किया, केवल दिवा स्वप्न दिखाने का काम किया, लेकिन सही मायने में उनके विकास के लिए जो योजनाएं बनना चाहिए थी, उनको जीवन में आगे बढ़ने के लिए जो अवसर प्रदान किए जाने चाहिए थे, उस काम को आगे नहीं बढ़ाया गया। हमारे देश के प्रधानमंत्री आदरणीय नरेंद्र मोदी जी के द्वारा, चाहे वो नमस्ते स्कीम हो, चाहे वो वेंचर कैपिटल फंड की बात हो, चाहे कौशल विकास की बात हो, इन सभी के माध्यम से जहां उनके जीवन में सुगमता लाने के लिए, स्वावलंबन लाने के लिए इन योजनाओं को आगे बढ़ाया गया, वहीं पंच तीर्थों का निर्माण करा के डॉक्टर भीमराव अंबेडकर जी के जीवन से जुड़े हुए जो पंच तीर्थ हैं, पहली बार किसी देश के पंतप्रधान ने हमारे डॉक्टर भीमराव अंबेडकर जी के जीवन से जुड़े हुए जो महत्वपूर्ण स्थान है, चाहे वो इंदौर में महू का उनकी जन्मस्थली हो, डॉक्टर भीमराव अंबेडकर इंटरनेशनल सेंटर हो, डॉक्टर भीमराव अंबेडकर राष्ट्रीय संग्रहालय हो, नागपुर की दीक्षा भूमि हो, मुंबई की चैत्य भूमि हो और लंदन की शिक्षा भूमि हो, इन पांचों स्थान पर जब अनुसूचित जाति वर्ग के बंधु जाते हैं, इन पंच तीर्थों का जब दर्शन करने के लिए जाते हैं, बाबा साहब के जीवन का जब दर्शन का प्रत्यक्ष रूप से जब वो दर्शन करते हैं, तो तब उनको एहसास होता है कि 60 वर्ष तक डॉक्टर भीमराव अंबेडकर जी ने पूरे देश में जो समता, समानता, समरसता के संदेश को आगे बढ़ाने का काम किया, सरकारों द्वारा डॉक्टर भीमराव जी को समाज के सामने जिस रूप में सामने लाया जाना चाहिए था, उसके प्रयास नहीं किए गए। उन प्रयासों को, परिणामों को सही मायने में समाज के सामने लाने का काम किसी के द्वारा किया गया, तो देश के प्रधानमंत्री आदरणीय नरेंद्र मोदी जी के द्वारा किया गया। और प्रधानमंत्री जी को सोच में जहां डॉक्टर भीमराव अंबेडकर जी के दर्शन होते हैं, वहीं पंडित दीनदयाल उपाध्याय जी के अंत्योदय का भी दर्शन होते हैं। सबका साथ, सबका विकास, सबका विश्वास और देश को, भारत को आत्मनिर्भर बनाने में सभी का सामूहिक प्रयास। भारत के विकास की अगर हम बात करें तो चाहे राष्ट्रीय राजमार्गों की बात हो, प्रधानमंत्री ग्राम सड़क योजना की सड़कों की बात हो, देश में बनने वाले विश्वविद्यालयों की बात हो, कॉलेज की बात हो, IIT की बात हो, उद्योग धंधे और कारखानों की बनाने की बात हो, अनुसूचित जाति वर्ग का व्यक्ति, अनुसूचित जाति वर्ग का बंधु हर स्थान पर न जाता है। गगनचुंबी इमारतों को बनाने में हमारे अनुसूचित जाति वर्ग के बंधुओं का बहुत बड़ा योगदान होता है। वो स्वयं जब राष्ट्रीय राजमार्ग बनाया जाता है तो सड़क के किनारे वो अपनी टीन की छोटी सी झुग्गी बनाकर वो वहां पर रहते हैं, लेकिन हम और आपको जाने के लिए सनसनाती हुई सड़कें बनना चाहिए, चमचमाती हुई सड़कें बनना चाहिए, दमदमाते हुए गगनचुंबी इमारतें बनना चाहिए। इनको बनाने का काम अगर कोई करता है तो हमारा अनुसूचित जाति समाज का बंधु हमारा करता है। हमारे देश की अर्थव्यवस्था 10 में से 5वें स्थान पर पहुंची। इसमें हमारे अनुसूचित जाति समाज का बहुत बड़ा योगदान है। समाज जीवन के हर क्षेत्र में, सड़क से लेकर सफाई से लेकर सुरक्षा तक, समाज जीवन के विभिन्न क्षेत्रों में अनुसूचित जाति वर्ग के व्यक्ति का प्रतिनिधित्व वहां पर दिखाई देता है। उन्होंने अपने परिश्रम से, विश्वास से समाज में जो स्थान अर्जित किया, आज देश के प्रधानमंत्री के द्वारा जब इन प्रयासों को आगे बढ़ाया गया तो आज अनुसूचित जाति वर्ग के मन एक विश्वास का भाव पैदा हुआ कि मोदी जी हैं तो मुमकिन है। अनुसूचित जाति की सूची में संशोधन करने के लिए हमारे सभी माननीय सदस्यों ने समर्थन किया। हमारे उड़ीसा की हमारी बहन सुलाता देव जी ने कहा कि उड़ीसा की सरकार के द्वारा वहां कुछ जातियों को अनुसूचित जाति में शामिल करने के लिए राज्य सरकार के द्वारा अनुशंसा की गई थी, लेकिन RGI के द्वारा इस प्रस्ताव का समर्थन नहीं किया गया और इस कारण से इसको निर्धारित प्रक्रियाओं के अंतर्गत निरस्त कर दिया गया। हमारे वरिष्ठ सांसद लोकसभा में भी वर्षों हमारे साथ में रहे हैं, श्री M. थम्बीदुरई जी ने तमिलनाडु राज्य सरकार से, और उन्होंने बोयर जाति के संबंध में बताया कि कर्नाटक में वो अलग स्थिति है, तमिलनाडु में अलग स्थिति है। मैं माननीय सदस्य से कहना चाहता हूं कि तमिलनाडु राज्य सरकार से इस संबंध में कोई प्रस्ताव नहीं आया है और हमारे माननीय सांसद बहुत वरिष्ठ हैं, वायर कम्युनिटी आप बहुत वरिष्ठ सदस्य हैं। भारत सरकार ने किसी भी जाति को अनुसूचित जाति की श्रेणी में शामिल करने के लिए एक प्रक्रिया बनाई है। उसमें राज्य से, संघ राज्य क्षेत्रों से प्रस्ताव आता है। प्रस्ताव आने के बाद RGI को जाता है। RGI जब सहमत होता है तो कमीशन को जाता है, कमीशन से के बाद फिर मंत्रिमंडल के अनुमोदन के पास जाता है और वहां से आने के बाद फिर सदन में बिल के रूप में लाया जाता है। तो तमिलनाडु से अगर इस तरह का कोई बिल आएगा तो आगे उस संबंध में ये सारी प्रक्रियाएं होने के बाद उसको आगे बढ़ाया जाएगा। 1989 में अविभाजित मध्य प्रदेश, जब मध्य प्रदेश से छत्तीसगढ़ का विभाजन नहीं हुआ था, तब मध्य प्रदेश ने वहां पर माहरा को महार, मेहरा और मेहर के परिवार के रूप में समावेश करने का प्रस्ताव मध्य प्रदेश के द्वारा भेजा गया था और 1992 में आरजीआई ने अविभाजित मध्य प्रदेश में माहरा जाति को शामिल करने के लिए सहमति भी दी। 2000 में मध्य प्रदेश का जब विभाजन हुआ, 2002 में माहरा को मध्य प्रदेश के अनुसूचित जातियों की श्रेणी में संविधान अनुसूचित जाति आदेश दूसरा संशोधन अधिनियम 2002 के अंतर्गत महार, मेहरा, मेहर के पर्याय के रूप में शामिल किया गया। लेकिन कुछ कारणों से छत्तीसगढ़ ने वहां की जो अनुसूचित जातियों की सूची में तदनुरूप संशोधन नहीं किया गया कि उनके द्वारा उस समय प्रस्ताव नहीं भेजा गया था। वर्ष 2000 में छत्तीसगढ़ राज्य का जब गठन हुआ तो छत्तीसगढ़ राज्य के गठन के बाद छत्तीसगढ़ राज्य सरकार ने अनुसूचित जाति के महार, मेहरा, मेहर के पर्याय के रूप में माहरा और मेहरा को शामिल करने का प्रस्ताव किया। मध्य प्रदेश में माहरा को अनुसूचित जाति श्रेणी में पहले ही शामिल कर लिया गया था तथा माहरा एवं मेहरा मामूली बर्तनी भिन्नता है, छोटी सी मात्रा की भिन्नता है और इसी कारण से छत्तीसगढ़ राज्य सरकार ने अपने दिनांक 3/6/2021 और 28/1/2022 के पत्रों के द्वारा अनुशंसा करके राज्य की महार, मेहरा और मेहर के साथ में क्रमांक 33 पर मेहरा और माहरा को पर्याय के रूप में शामिल करने के लिए जो प्रस्ताव भेजा, जिसका आरजीआई ने और राष्ट्रीय अनुसूचित जाति आयोग ने समर्थन किया। इस पर संबंधित मंत्रालयों के द्वारा भी और अनापत्ति दी गई और इसके उपरांत केंद्रीय मंत्रिमंडल के अनुमोदन से सदन में पहले लोकसभा में लाया गया, वहां पर सर्वसम्मति से पारित हुआ और आज भी सभी माननीय सदस्यों के द्वारा इसको समर्थन दिया गया है। जो दोनों हमारे मेहरा और माहरा के लगभग 2 लाख की आबादी है, ये हम पर छत्तीसगढ़ में बुनाई और कोटवारी का काम करते हैं। एक बहुत बड़ी संख्या उनकी है जिनको की अनुसूचित जाति की श्रेणी में शामिल होने पर उनको राज्य सरकार की, केंद्र सरकार की नौकरियों में आरक्षण मिलेगा, शिक्षा में उनको अधिकार मिलेंगे, वेंचर कैपिटल फंड से कम ब्याज पर लोन लेकर वो अपने उद्यम भी लगा सकेंगे, उनको केंद्र सरकार की, राज्य सरकार की सारी सुविधाओं का लाभ मिल सकेगा। और इसलिए मैं आपके माध्यम से सदन से अनुरोध करता हूं कि इसको सर्वसम्मति से पारित कराने में अपना सहयोग दें।
Thank you, Minister. The question is that the Constitution Scheduled Caste Order Amendment Bill 2023 as passed by Lok Sabha be taken into consideration. Those in favor will please say aye. Those against will please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the motion is adopted. We shall now take up the clause by clause consideration of the bill. Clause 2 stands part of the bill. Those in favor will please say aye. Those against will please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it. Clause 2 is adopted. Clause 1, the enacting formula and the title stands part of the bill. Those in favor will please say aye. Those against will please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it. Clause 1, the enacting formula and the title are adopted. Honorable Dr. Virendra Kumar to move.
मैं प्रस्ताव करता हूं कि विधेयक को पारित किया जाए।
Motion moved that the bill be passed. The question is that the bill be passed. Those in favor will please say aye. Those against will please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it. The bill is passed. Honorable members, under proviso to Rule 23 of the Rules of Procedure and Conduct of the Business in the Council of States, the chairman has permitted the Anusandhan National Research Foundation Bill 2020. Listed in today's revised list of business at serial number 6D to be taken up after the consideration and the Anusandhan National Research Foundation Bill 2023. Dr. Jitendra Singh to move the motion for the consideration of the Anusandhan National Research Foundation Bill 2023.
Madam Chairperson, with your kind permission, I rise to move that Anusandhan National Research Foundation Bill 2023, already passed by the Lok Sabha, may be taken up for consideration.
Motion moved. There is one amendment by Dr. V. Shivadasan for reference of the Anusandhan National Research Foundation Bill 2023 as passed by Lok Sabha to the Select Committee of the Rajya Sabha. Member absent. Amendment not moved. The motion for consideration of the bill is now open for discussion. I now call upon the members whose name have been received for participation in the discussion. Honorable Sri Sujit Kumar.
Thank you, Honorable Vice Chairperson. Ma'am, I'm fortunate and I draw a lot of inspiration because you are in the chair most of the time I get to speak. I, on behalf of my party, Biju Janata Dal, support this bill, ma'am, because it's a very forward-looking bill. In fact, this is a subject which is very close to my heart, and I've often spoken in this August House about this during zero hour and during question hour. Now, let me explain, ma'am, what is the rationale behind this bill? Why was this bill brought in? The National Research Foundation Bill 2023 will replace the Science and Engineering Research Board Act of 2008 and subsume the Science and Engineering Research Board, SERB in short, into the National Research Foundation, NRF in short. Now the SERB Act of 2008 did a great job in laying the foundation of science and engineering in our country, but because of the limited mandate of the Act, the SERB, the board, could not suffice, and also it did not bring about a decisive change in the research and innovation ecosystem of our country. So the hope is that, ma'am, this bill, NRF 2023, will bring about an integrated and holistic change and in the research innovation ecosystem of our country. It will bring about a perceptible change in the innovation landscape of our country by tapping into universities, higher education, and the private sector. Ma'am, research is a very capital intensive business. So unless you bring in the private sector to support the research activities and the research ecosystem, I think you cannot have a world-class research. So this is why this is a very forward-looking bill, ma'am. Let me provide some context. Ma'am, today we spend less than 0.7% of our GDP on research. Comparable figures: Israel 4.8, South Korea 4.5, US 3.2 odd, China 2.5 odd. So we are really pathetic when it comes to spending on our research budget. On top of it, private sector spend on research is less than half, close to 40% in our country. Whereas for most of the OECD countries or for most of the top economies, it is anywhere between 70 to 80%. So I think, ma'am, that this bill hopefully will correct this situation. Now, ma'am, Honorable Prime Minister has articulated his vision that by 2047, at the end of the Amrit Kal, we are now celebrating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. At the end of the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, the Amrit Kal 2047, when we will celebrate 100 years of our independence, we will become a developed nation, from being a developing country to a developed nation. Now, ma'am, we cannot become a developed nation unless we spend on research, unless we focus on technology, because technology will be the key driver of this transformation from being a developing to a developed nation. Secondly, Honorable Prime Minister has also shared his vision of making India a $1 trillion digital economy, which will be roughly 20% of our GDP when we become a $5 trillion economy. Again, without innovation, without R&D, can we become a $1 trillion digital economy? I'm so happy that Honorable Minister IT and Electronics, Ashwin Vaishnav also is here. So, ma'am, give me just 2 more minutes. So, this is why it is very essential that R&D, which is the bedrock of scientific discoveries or technological innovation, is so essential if we are to tackle the challenges of our country, whether it's climate change or food insecurity or other things. Ma'am, just couple of issues which I would like to quickly highlight. One is the independence of the governing board. Though the NRF in the bill itself talks of independence and autonomy of the board, I hope that the government will follow it in letter and spirit. And that,
please conclude, your time
just
is
ma'am,
over.
just one more
Please,
minute.
please.
And that clear and transparent criteria is laid out for selection of the scientists who will be part of the board. Secondly, there will be more focus on allocating sufficient fund to the state universities also, not just the IITs, not just the central universities, but state universities also get fund. And finally, ma'am, social research, social science, humanities is as essential as pure science. And this is why the governing board should consist of eminent social scientists as well. Ma'am, just 30 more seconds. Ma'am, technology will decide the geopolitics of our time. It will decide the destiny of nations. It's the new wealth, ma'am. Technology is the new wealth of nation. This is why the choice we make today as a nation, as to the direction of our research, direction of our technology, will decide whether we become a great power. Ma'am, I'll end by just saying one of my favorite quote. Ma'am, the single most factor which decides the intellectual, social, or economic progress of a nation or the well-being of its citizens is dependent on the creation and acquisition of knowledge. This is why this is a great bill, ma'am, and I support it. Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan, Jai Vigyan, Jai Anusandhan.
Thank you. Mananya Ayodhya Rammi Reddy Allah.
For giving me the opportunity to talk on the Anusandhan National Research Foundation Bill 2023. Madam, this bill is a very transformative one that holds the immense promise for India's future. The establishment of NRF is going to set up and going to give a new direction to reshape our nation's research, innovation, and entrepreneurial landscape. Madam, we have to understand the current status of research and development in our country, and also the innovation and the entrepreneurial landscape. If we have to see the current status, I think we need to do a lot, even though this bill is delayed, but I think very happy that it has come at the right time. For India to be a developed nation, certainly the research and innovation in line with our needs certainly have to be looked at. And today when I see in sectors like infrastructure, in manufacturing, agriculture and services, all the 4 sectors if we look at, I think, we have not innovated. We just borrowed certain things and we are trying to move with that. The time has come. Certainly on innovation, India with its own geopolitical situations need to innovate solutions for themselves. A lot of focus need to go into that. Same as research also. Lot of, we have our Sanatan, value system. Taking that into consideration, we have to move on improving our research initiatives, which I'm sure the world will be just looking forward to, and we have that important responsibility. If I have to say on the agriculture side also, there is so many innovative thoughts that were there at the ground level, and also entrepreneurial skills that are available. This, I think, NRF, under the chairmanship of Honorable Prime Minister, I think it is really going to give a direction. the status, if you look at India, we are just 255 researchers per million people, against the developed countries more than 4,000 to 5,000. The entire machinery that we have to look at, around the research, I think, from the village level to the research, to the universities level, there is a, we don't have the adequate machinery that need to be looked at, and all that must come as a strategic planning from NRF. And then the money also we spend very, very little, just 0.65% of the GDP is spent by India against a global average of 1.8%, and especially the developed nations 2 to 3% and even up to 5%. So what I only want to say, madam, this particular bill is handy in identifying our requirements for this nation on research, development, innovation, and entrepreneurial landscape, and identifying a master plan and putting up the right teams in place, starting from the highest level of research to up to the ground realities of agriculture. We need to have the right kind of budget allocations in place, and that sort of a roadmap, I think, is going to give a direction to this country, and this bill is very apt, and we support this bill from YSR Congress Party. Thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you. Mananiya Kanak Medula Rabindra Kumar.
Thank you, madam, for giving this opportunity. The Anusandhan National Research Foundation will proposes to establish National Research Foundation. This body aims to direct research in the strategic area ranging from science to humanities. It plans to involve the private sector, which currently contributes around 36%, to research and development. Expenditure is to bigger way. Not only this bill provides to undertake an annual survey of outcomes of scientific research in India with a view to create a central repository for the collection, interpretation, and analysis of information and data surrounding such research, and the aims of repository would include providing information for policy formulation and advising the central government and state government as well as private sector. The bill proposes to create a conducive atmosphere to promote research in every field. Coming to the bill, this bill is section clause 3. The object is the foundation to serve the apex body to provide high-level strategic directions for research, innovation, and entrepreneurship in the fields of natural science, including mathematical science, engineering, technology, and environmental. But the establishment with regard to the governing body has been constituted under the ex officio chairpersonship of Honorable Prime Minister. Definitely it will serve the purposes, but the Act provides another provision to create an executive council to implement the provisions of the Act. But there is an ambiguity with regard to the qualifications and eligibility criteria to the members and experience, and the tenure has to be clarified. Coming to the other aspect, the constitution of committees. The Executive Council is empowered to constitute committees necessary efficient discharge of the duties and performance. The functions of the executive committees and the respective committees also have to be clarified. That is, there is no specific provision in this Act. And in the light of the above proposed clauses, the Anusandhan National Research Foundation Bill, with a view to establish the Anusandhan National Research Foundation to provide high-level strategic direction for research, innovation, and entrepreneurship in the fields of natural sciences. The silent features of Anusandhan National Research Foundation Bill is to create a very vibrant, globally competent scientific ecosystem. In view of the present bill, there is a lot of changes will be brought into existence. I wholeheartedly supported the bill on behalf of Telugu Desam Party.
Thank you. Mananiya V. Vijay Sai Reddy.
Thank you, Vice Chairperson, Madam. Friendship. Madam, Anusandhan National Research Foundation Bill is a significant step forward in the direction of revamping the entire R&D ecosystem. Therefore, we, YSR Congress Party, under the leadership of Jagan Mohan Reddy Garu, supports this bill, madam. Madam, there are only 3 points, madam. We have given only 2 minutes and I'll complete it. Given the fact that the bill allows the private funding, I request the Honorable Minister to make stringent accountability checks to prevent the possible misuse of funding, madam. The research institutions that are funded by the corporates and private players in the past, we have an experience, and they try to push their certain agenda, which can easily be used for ulterior motives. Therefore, I request the Honorable Minister to take care of this particular issue, madam. The second point, madam, India's spending on R&D is almost the lowest in the world. R&D investment in India stands at 0.7% of our GDP, well below global average of 1.8%. I request the Honorable Minister to kindly look into this issue. The third and final point, madam, which is your point, women, madam, in science, technology, engineering and mathematics. There has been a historic absence of women in scientific disciplines in India. Only 20% of the seats in 23 IITs in the country are held by women. Average female faculty in IIT amounts to only 11%, while 52% of the women enrolled for STEM courses for graduation, only 29 actually joined the system, the STEM workforce, madam. So, of course, I mean, here our Honorable Chairman is completely justifying it's all women managed Rajya Sabha, madam. Thank you very much, madam. We wholeheartedly support this.
Thank you. Mananya G.K. Vasan.
Sir, I congratulate the Minister for bringing this bill, sir. This bill, I feel, is a need of the hour for the scientific community of our country, which is giving a lot of laurels in various subjects for the interest of our country, sir. I would like to give some statistics to substantiate this for the interest of the scientific community, sir. According to the Press Information Bureau, the filing of patents in India has increased from 46,763 in 2014-15 to 66,440 in 21-22, which is exactly more than 50% increase in a span of 7 years. Additionally, startups, I would say, have registered over more than 5,000 trademarks in the last 5 years. Sir, these numbers show that India is making significant progress in the field of innovation and intellectual property rights. According to the World Intellectual Property Organization, India today ranks 8th in patent filed by resident scientists and innovators. In 2021, Indian resident scientists filed 40% of the total patent application, which is more than the double the number in the field in 2010-11. India has also climbed 35 ranks in the Global Innovation Index, holding its ranking at 35 as compared to 81st rank in 2015-16 to 46th rank in 2021. Sir, these statistics prove that the government today and our Honorable Prime Minister is making a mark in this important ministry, sir. The National Research Foundation of NRF is established to foster research not only in science and technology, but also research in various fields like humanities, social science, and arts. NRF is also expected to meet research requirements in new and emerging areas like climate change, clean energy, and sustainable infrastructure. There is also provision for tie-up between educational institutions and industries so that our institutions encourage research in areas which are in demand for industries. To conclude, Madam, India ranks 3rd among the most attractive investment destination for technology transaction in the world. India's public and private R&D put together comes to $68 million which is 6th in the world. So, NRS emphasizes on increasing funding from both government and private sources is a step in the right direction this bill is given today. The bill aims to provide the right environment for promoting research to meet our national priorities and make India a world leader in various fields. Therefore, I, on behalf of my party, extend wholeheartedly support to this important bill. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mananya Dr. M. Thambidurai.
Vice Chairman, Madam, thank you very much for giving the opportunity to speak on the bill, the Anusandhan National Research Foundation Bill 2023. On behalf of my leader, Edappadi Palaniswamy, and my party, ADMK party, supporting this bill. Madam, I want to make it very clear, the research is very, very fundamental, important thing. But you are asking to speak within 3 minutes, 4 minutes. This is very vast subject. This cannot be done like that. To get doctorate, Dr. Jitendra Singh spent 5 years to get a doctor. I spent 4 years to get my PhD doctor. Therefore, 4 or 5 minutes, that is by year, 4 years you spent.
I spent 7 years, so take 7 minutes. 7 minutes.
No, I'm telling. Because if you put a bell, I cannot in a position to express. The research is, we have to concentrate and give some kind of new impetus for the development of this country. Just simply, if you put a bell, technological interfaces and humanities and social sciences. Our Dr. Jiten Singh is a doctor health side. I studied in economics, social science side. I got my PhD. But mathematics and everything we are telling, engineering, now we are facing in India, the students are not opting for mechanical engineering and civil engineering and also electrical engineering. This is the basic thing for engineering side. Everybody is IT. They want to go to the IT minister is here. They want to go to computer science. The engineering college means base 3 things. Everybody is a computer science, means IT like that, means even arts college they are giving BSc, computer science, BCA and everything like that. Therefore, the importance of this the civil engineering mechanics going down, it is the high time this research foundation has given some kind of fund and gives a new syllabus, and this is the basic for the development. Our friend said developing country. It is not to developing. Already we are developing country. To developed country, we have to government research is very important. Without that, we cannot develop. That is more important. This ministry, scientific this ministry, is giving some funds for the colleges and some kind of universities. Same way, AICT also giving some funds here and there. What they are giving, 10 lakhs, 5 lakhs for the institutions. Even I don't know, with that what research can be done. That is why I told you, put a bell, I know that. Because the research is a very basic thing. If we want time to bill, put patient because you have put a bill, the bill also can be, that is all. But I am, fundamentally I want to make academic, I am academician. Research is very important. Without research, we are not developed. Especially our Vijay Sagar said, one point, this encouraging the public sector enterprise as well as private sector to invest in the activities of the foundation. Madam, this is very important. The government has to take care of that. The corporate sectors, how they are allocating the funds for research and development. And also, I am appreciate Honorable Prime Minister as heading this board, this governing board. This is a very phenomenal thing, and also that shows the vision of the Prime Minister Narendra Modi wants to give the importance for research, because he is always giving such kind of development for that. Education, health and every sector is giving more important. Therefore, research also, his vision is there. To this vision, mission, we have to achieve that. Further, more fund. Therefore, I request Honorable Minister to allocate more fund.
Conclude, sir, your time is over, sir.
Thank you much. Thank you very much. That is why the research cannot be done like this.
Thank you.
Research is always getting like this, cannot get it.
Manyavar Jitendra Singh ji.
Fund, but not the time.
Thank you, Chairperson, ma'am. At the outset, I have to thank the honorable members who have given very useful inputs. Mr. Sujit Kumar, Mr. Ayodhya, Ravi Reddy Allah Garo, Mr. Kanaka Medalla Ravindra Kumar, thode hi hain. Mr. Vijay Sai Reddy, J.K. Vasanji, and our very learned Sri Thambi Durai ji. I think those who are not present in the House today have actually deprived themselves of a very important discussion. This is a bill which is going to have a long-term effect, long-term outcomes, and all of us, each citizen of India, including those sitting on the other side, are going to be stakeholders. To that extent, this is possibly history in making. When history happens, we don't realize. When it is written, we realize that we were part of it. And now, ironically, destiny leaves it to us, the choice, whether to make ourselves part of the history or not. Those who have not, I hope, will not one day repent that they were not here in this house, because we were actually, the government was looking forward to have more constructive inputs from them as well. Most of the points saliently have been raised. The House is not in a mood for a very long discussion. And as has been rightly mentioned, ever since Prime Minister Modi took over in 2014, he has, one after the other, taken a number of path-breaking decisions, broken several taboos of the past in order to liberate India of those self-made barriers so that we could have a global role. And if we envisage for ourselves the Amrit Kal next 25 years, obviously we have to live up to global parameters, and that is possible only if we have the same level of competitiveness as other countries. Just to cite a few, it was Prime Minister Modi who unlocked the Space Department. Today you have Chandrayaan, you have 150 startups from the private sector, which was hardly imaginable till about 5-7 years ago. And that has also increased our resource pool, both knowledge-wise as well as finance funding. Similarly, our atomic energy, we were constrained of funds. It was Prime Minister Modi, in a decision in 2014, he amended the Atomic Energy Act and allowed it for joint funding and joint ventures. Today, we have an atomic energy plant coming up nearby in Haryana and Gorakhpur, which was already confined to only 3-4 states. Similarly, from the ramparts of Red Fort, he spoke about Startup India, Stand-up India, and made us realize that that Rozgar does not necessarily mean Sarkari Naukri, and helped us come out of that mindset. From just 350 startups, today we are more than 1 lakh. It was Prime Minister Modi who made us realize the importance of biotechnology in the 21st century world. And just imagine India, which hardly had the aptitude and culture of preventive healthcare, gave world the first ever vaccine for COVID. And today, from just 50 startups in biotechnology in 2014, we are up to 6,000. So new avenues of livelihood, new avenues. And therefore, to that extent, in a single sentence, I can say this Anusandhan Act, which is coming into being from today, will pave the way and will define the face and stature of India at 2047, because this will place us in that select league of developed nations. I will not go much into detail, but just to respond to a few points, I am also glad that so much is the requirement of this new provision and so much of unanimity that it was heartening to see Mr. Kanaka Medalla and Mr. Vijay Sai Reddy on the same page. So I think one of the biggest contributions of this bill today is that he has brought two warring horses from Andhra on the same page.
Yes.
So,
that is what he said.
I think this should be researched.
and I'm sure for a research scholar like Mr. Thambi Rai, it will take another 5 years to conduct a research on this. But nevertheless, as was being said by Mr. Ravindra Kumar, there is no ambiguity. Actually, the rules are yet to be framed. When the rules are framed, everything will be in order. In fact, the Act has envisaged every good thing which was possible even in the other role models. We have a research society in America, we have a research society in some of the European countries. We are among the first few. And in fact, when it is put into place, I'm sure it is going to be better than most of them because we have thoroughly studied it for about 2-3 years, repeated presentations, repeated brainstorming on this. Mr. Vijay Sai Reddy rightly mentioned the accountability check. If you go through the details of the bill, you will find that the Executive Council will also mandated not only to monitor the progress of the different projects, but also to analyze the accountability of the funding at different stages. To begin with, when the funding is decided for a project, whether it is required, how much, is it justified, and then from stage to stage, how best it is being put to use for which it was meant. And as he rightly mentioned that the R&D spending was very low in this country, this is one of the important issues which is going to be addressed by this bill. We are going to have a budget of 50,000 crore for 5 years, out of which 36,000 crore, almost 80% is going to come from the non-government sources, from industry, from philanthropists, even from domestic as well as outside sources, which is not difficult because it comes to about 7,200 crore per year. And even if we have our 14,000 share, we can enter into some kind of an equity or PPP model. So there is a huge, because I personally also believe that in case we have to grow beyond this, where we have today arrived with the patronage offered by Prime Minister Modi in the last 9 years, we have to then do away with the demarcation between the private and the public sector. We have to have a very holistic approach. We have to give up silos. We have to have an integrated supplementation of the best avenues that each one of us have. And in order to achieve that, we have to also make the industry stakeholder right from the beginning. And that, I think, is precisely one of the, at the same time, keeping in mind the ethos and our ancient heritage, the Executive Council also has room for representation from social sciences, from humanities, so that we do not miss out while we move in the world arena, we do not miss out our Bharat. So I think this is a bill which is going to be a turning point. And yes, another point which was very relevantly raised by Mr. Thambaduraiji, you rightly mentioned, colleges, universities. This is another issue being addressed. It has been very consciously, because as I said, we studied about 3 years to work on this bill. And you are right, the earlier board, which is now going to be non-existent after this bill comes, after that I'm going to conclude, the Science and Engineering Research Board, SERB. That was a board which was offering funds or funding support or financial support on the basis of competitiveness, which was very open, fair, objective. As a result of which, almost 65% of funding went to IITs and the most technically developed institutions, whereas the state universities hardly got a share of 10 to 15% of the entire funds. Whereas I agree with you, most of the researchers, most of the students and scholars are there in the universities. And therefore, at the time of introduction, when somebody said that this bill may not be compatible with the spirit of cooperative federalism, I had to correct them to tell them that in fact we are supplementing the state universities' resources. So that is one issue which is being taken care of, because the bill envisages that we will have a separate competition within the state universities. So separate allocation exclusively for them, so that they are not expected to compete with the higher institutions and thereby suffer a disadvantage. So I think, to sum up, because this is today not the right mood for a long discussion, so one should stop before asked to stop. We have a governing body headed by the Prime Minister, and we have an Executive Council which will be headed by the Principal Scientific Advisor. But we have a huge lot of conglomeration of representation from industry, from academics, and I think it will be so evenly balanced that we will not deprive ourselves from the best of everything else. And therefore, this Anusandhan Act, Anusandhan National Research Foundation Bill, when I humbly request for unanimous passage, I also would take pride in saying that this is happening at a time when we are the members, and this should have happened several years ago. I rightly agree with members. Maybe destiny wanted that Shri Modi ji should be the Prime Minister and we should be the members of the House when this historic destined thing happens. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The question is that the Anusandhan National Research Foundation Bill 2023 as passed by Lok Sabha be taken into consideration. Those in favor of will please say aye. Aye. Those against will please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it. The motion is adopted. We shall now take up clause by clause consideration of the bill. Clause 2 and 3 stand part of the bill. Those in favor of will please say aye. Aye. Those against will please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it. Clause 2 and 3 are adopted. Clause 4 stands part of the bill. There are 6 amendments. Number 1 to 4 by Sri Binoy Vishwam. Not present. Number 11 and 12 by Dr. B. Sivdasan. Members absent. Amendments not moved. I shall now put clause 4 to vote. Those in favor will please say aye. Aye. Those against will please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it. Clause 4 is adopted. Clause 5 stands part of the bill. There are 4 amendments. Number 5 to 7 by Sri Binoy Vishwam. Number 13 by Dr. Sivdasan. Member absent, amendment not moved. I shall now put clause 5 to vote. Those in favor of will please say aye. Aye. Those against will please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it. Clause 5 is adopted. Clause 6 stands part of the bill. There is 1 amendment. Number 8 by Sri Binoy Vishwam. Member absent, amendment not moved. I shall now put clause 6 to vote. Those in favor of will please say aye. Aye. Those against will please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it. Clause 6 is adopted. Clause 7 and 8 stands part of the bill. Those in favor of please say aye. Aye. Those against will please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it. Clause 7 and 8 are adopted. Clause 9 stands part of the bill. There is 1 amendment by Sri Binoy Vishwam. Member absent, amendment not moved. I shall now put clause 9 to vote. Those in favor will please say aye. Aye. Those against will please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it. Clause 9 adopted. Clause 10 stands part of the bill. Those in favor will please say aye. Aye. Those against will please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it. Clause 10 is adopted. Clause 11 stands part of the bill. There is 1 amendment by Sri Binoy Vishwam. Member absent, amendment not moved. I shall now put clause 11 to vote. Those in favor will please say aye. Aye. Those against please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it. Clause 11 is adopted. Clause 12 to 27 stands part of the bill. Those in favor will please say aye. Aye. Those against will please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it. Clause 12 to 27 are adopted. Clause 1, enacting formula, the title stands part of the bill. Those in favor will please say aye. Aye. Those against will please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it. Clause 1, the enacting formula, the title are adopted. Dr. Jitendra Singh ji.
Ma'am, I move that the bill be passed.
Motion moved that the bill be passed. The question is that the bill be passed. Those in favor will please say aye. Aye. Those against will please say no. I think The ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the bill is passed. The Digital Personal Data Protection Bill.
Honorable Chairperson, ma'am, I rise to move that the bill to provide for the processing of digital personal data in a manner that recognizes both the right of individuals to protect their personal data and the need to process such personal data for lawful purposes and for matters connected therewith or incidental thereto, as passed by Lok Sabha, be taken into consideration.
Motion moved. There are two amendments by Dr. John Brittas and Dr. B. Sivadasan for reference of the Digital Personal Data Protection Bill 2023 as passed by Lok Sabha to a select committee of Rajya Sabha. Members may move the amendment at this stage without any speech. Members absent, amendments not moved. The motion of consideration of the bill is now open for discussion. I now call upon the members, those names have been received for participation in the discussion. Okay.
Honorable Chairperson, ma'am, पिछले 9 वर्षों में जिस तरह से माननीय प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने डिजिटल इंडिया के माध्यम से देश भर में सेवाओं को गरीब से गरीब घर तक पहुंचाने का एक नया आयाम रचा है, आज सारी दुनिया में उसकी चर्चा है। आज अगर हम देखें तो हिंदुस्तान में करीब 90 करोड़ देशवासी हमारे ऐसे हैं जो कि इंटरनेट से जुड़े हैं और प्रैक्टिकली ज़िंदगी के हर पहलू में डिजिटल ट्रांजैक्शंस की मदद से जीवन की सेवाएं ले रहे हैं। और इसके पीछे माननीय प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी की एक बहुत ही दूरदर्शी सोच है। ऐसी परिस्थितियों में जहां डिजिटल हमारी ज़िंदगी का एक बहुत इम्पॉर्टेंट हिस्सा बन चुका है, उसमें पर्सनल डेटा और विशेषकर डिजिटल पर्सनल डेटा उसको सुरक्षित रखने के लिए आज ये बिल लेके आए। आज अगर बहुत अच्छा होता कि विपक्ष के हमारे साथी भी 140 करोड़ देशवासियों को जो एक अधिकार दिया जा रहा है, उस अधिकार के देने के सहभागी बनते, लेकिन विपक्ष को आज तक कभी भी हमारे देशवासियों के अधिकारों के प्रति कोई सजगता नहीं थी। वो आज भी इन खाली बेंचों से क्लियर दिखाई देता है। मैं धन्यवाद देना चाहूँगा जो आज इतने सिंसियरली प्रेजेंट है और देश के 140 करोड़ देशवासियों को ये अधिकार देने में इस सदन के माध्यम से एक बहुत बड़ा उपयोगी काम कर रहे हैं। सभापति महोदया, मैं बहुत शॉर्ट में इस बिल के बारे में सदन के समक्ष रखूंगा। सबसे पहले इस बिल के लिए कंसल्टेशन बहुत हुआ है। पिछले करीब 6 वर्षों से इस बिल के ऊपर काम चल रहा था। जॉइंट पार्लियामेंट्री कमेटी बैठी, कमेटी ने कई 100 से अधिक मीटिंग्स की, 48 ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस के साथ कंसल्टेशन हुआ, 39 मिनिस्ट्रीज के साथ कंसल्टेशन हुआ, करीब 24,000 कमेंट्स आए और उसके बाद में डिटेल्ड कंसल्टेशन के बाद में ये बिल सदन के समक्ष लाए। सभापति महोदया, इस बिल में जितने भी साधारण नागरिक जो डिजिटल सेवाएं उपयोग करते हैं, उन सबको नए अधिकार दिए गए और जो भी संस्था किसी भी व्यक्ति के डेटा को लेती है, उपयोग करती है, उसके ऊपर बहुत सारे ऑब्लिगेशंस डाले गए। उन ऑब्लिगेशंस के बारे में आपके समक्ष रखूंगा। सबसे पहले किसी भी नागरिक का डेटा अगर कोई संस्था लेती है, चाहे वो सोशल मीडिया प्लेटफॉर्म हो, चाहे सरकार हो, चाहे कोई भी हो, सबसे पहले प्रिंसिपल ऑफ लीगैलिटी चलेगा कि जो भी डेटा ले उसका उपयोग केवल कानून के अनुसार हो सकता है। दूसरा, प्रिंसिपल ऑफ पर्पस लिमिटेशन, यानी जिस उद्देश्य के लिए ले उसी उद्देश्य के लिए उपयोग में ले सकते हैं। तीसरा, प्रिंसिपल ऑफ डेटा मिनिमाइजेशन, यानी जितना चाहिए उतना ही डेटा ले। चौथा, प्रिंसिपल ऑफ एक्यूरेसी, यानी अगर डेटा में कोई करेक्शन करना है, कोई चेंज करना है, तो वो नागरिक को अधिकार है। पांचवा, प्रिंसिपल ऑफ स्टोरेज लिमिटेशन, की जब तक उद्देश्य की पूर्ति हो, जब तक रिक्वायरमेंट हो, तभी तक स्टोर करे, उसके बाद में उसको डिलीट करे। छठा, प्रिंसिपल ऑफ रीजनेबल सेफगार्ड्स, यानी पर्सनल डेटा को सिक्योर रखने के लिए जितने रीजनेबल सेफगार्ड्स लेने चाहिए वो सब सेफगार्ड्स लिए जाए। सातवां, प्रिंसिपल ऑफ अकाउंटेबिलिटी, यानी जिस भी संस्था ने, जिस एंटिटी ने डेटा लिया है, उनकी जिम्मेदारी है कि इस कानून के तहत जो अधिकार दिए गए, उन अधिकारों के साथ में नागरिकों की डेटा की सुरक्षा करें। सभापति महोदया, नागरिकों को 4 अधिकार दिए गए। राइट टू एक्सेस इंफॉर्मेशन, अपनी पर्सनल डेटा के बारे में कि क्या डेटा लिया गया है उसके बारे में इंफॉर्मेशन दे सके। सेकेंड, राइट टू करेक्शन ऑफ पर्सनल डेटा एंड राइट टू इरेजर, यानी अगर कोई व्यक्ति चाहे कि मेरा डेटा नहीं होना चाहिए सोशल मीडिया पे, तो राइट टू इरेजर है। इसको राइट टू फॉरगॉटन भी बोलते हैं कई ज्योग्राफीज में। राइट ऑफ ग्रीवेंस रिड्रेसल बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट है, अगर किसी को कोई शिकायत हो उसका एक बहुत अच्छे तरीके से माध्यम बनाया गया है। एंड राइट टू नॉमिनेट इन केस ऑफ डेथ एंड इनकैपेसिटी। सभापति महोदया, इम्प्लीमेंटेशन के लिए बहुत ही एक अच्छा सिस्टम बनाया गया है, प्रस्तावित इस बिल में। एक इंडिपेंडेंट डेटा प्रोटेक्शन बोर्ड बनेगा जिसकी डिजिटल बाय डिज़ाइन, यानी जो दिल्ली में, बेंगलुरु में, मुंबई में रहने वाले समर्थ नागरिकों को जो सुविधाएं, वही एक्सेस टू जस्टिस मिले देश के उन क्षेत्रों में रहने वाले नागरिकों को भी जिनके पास इतना सामर्थ्य नहीं है, जिनके पास इतनी फैसिलिटीज़ नहीं है। ये प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी की सबका साथ सबका विकास की सोच को दर्शाता है। सभापति महोदया, इस बोर्ड में एक्सपर्ट्स रहेंगे जो इस डेटा की फील्ड को समझते हैं, और बोर्ड कानून के द्वारा इंडिपेंडेंट है। सारे प्रोविजंस जिससे इंडिपेंडेंस गारंटी हो सके वो कानून में रखी गई है। इस बोर्ड के ऊपर टेलीकॉम डिस्प्यूट्स की जो ट्रिब्यूनल है, टीडी सेट, उसमें अपील की जा सकती है और उसके ऊपर सुप्रीम कोर्ट में जा सकती है। 2 बड़े अच्छे लीगल इनोवेशंस रखे गए हैं इस डिजिटल इकोनॉमी को और प्रोत्साहित करने के लिए। पहला है वॉलंटरी अंडरटेकिंग। मान लीजिए किसी से कोई अनजाने में भूल हो गई, तो डेटा प्रोटेक्शन बोर्ड के पास आ जाए और कहे कि हमसे भूल हो गई, ये पेनल्टी है और ये हमने इसमें सुधार किया, तो उस केस में व्यक्ति आगे बढ़े। दूसरा, ऑल्टरनेट डिस्प्यूट रेजोल्यूशन की बहुत अच्छी एक व्यवस्था रखी गई है जिससे कोर्ट्स के ऊपर बहुत ज़्यादा बोझ न बढ़े। सभापति महोदया, जैसे आज चेयर में और टेबल पे दोनों जगह हमारी बहनें हैं, मैं बहन कहने का दुस्साहस कर रहा हूँ, माफ़ कीजिएगा, आदरणीय बहन है, उसी भावना से माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने हमेशा मातृशक्ति और मातृवंदना पे बहुत जोर दिया है। ये बिल पहला बिल है जिसमें ही की जगह शी का इस्तेमाल किया गया है, हिस की जगह हर का इस्तेमाल किया गया है, और इसकी विश्व भर में आज चर्चा है कि ये एक जो नारी शक्ति को सम्मान देने का तरीका है, वो सम्मान देने का तरीका दुनिया भर में इसका प्रचलन किया जाए। सभापति महोदया, इस बिल में बहुत ही सरल भाषा में बिल को ड्राफ्ट किया गया। प्रधानमंत्री जी का हमेशा मार्गदर्शन ये रहा है कि कानून ऐसी भाषा में लिखा जाए जो हमारा सामान्य मानवी भी उसको पढ़े तो उसको पढ़ के समझ सके, उसका इंटरप्रिटेशन कर सके, उसका उपयोग कर सके। बहुत सारे विषय कई फोरम्स में उठे, शायद आज भी उठेंगे। मैं 2-3 पॉइंट्स को एकदम क्लियर करना चाहता हूँ। पहला, आरटीआई के विषय में एक विषय उठा है मुद्दा। पुट्टा स्वामी जजमेंट आने के बाद में राइट टू प्राइवेसी एक फंडामेंटल राइट बनी है। तो जब फंडामेंटल राइट बनी है तो उसमें कानून द्वारा प्रदत्त प्रोविजंस के तहत पब्लिकेशन हो सकता है किसी के पर्सनल डेटा का, उसके अलावा और किसी तरीके से पर्सनल इंफॉर्मेशन को किसी भी पब्लिक फोरम में नहीं रखा जा सकता। इसलिए राइट टू इंफॉर्मेशन में जो कॉन्ट्रडिक्शन था, उस कॉन्ट्रडिक्शन को इस बिल के माध्यम से दूर किया गया है। लेकिन कानून में, जैसे रिप्रेजेंटेशन ऑफ पीपल एक्ट में, जितने हमारे माननीय सांसद महोदय हैं, जितने हमारे पब्लिक रिप्रेजेंटेटिव्स हैं, उनका जितना पर्सनल डेटा है, डेट ऑफ बर्थ, एड्रेस, सब चीज़ें जो कानून कहता है रखना चाहिए, डिस्क्लोज करना चाहिए, वो अब भी डिस्क्लोज होगा। दूसरा विषय आया कि क्या पुट्टा स्वामी जजमेंट के सारे टेस्ट को ये बिल फॉलो करता है। ये पुट्टा स्वामी जजमेंट है, बहुत ही भारी भरकम अच्छा जजमेंट है, बहुत बड़ा जजमेंट है और इसकी बड़ी वैल्यू है। इसमें जो तीनों टेस्ट हैं, लीगैलिटी, लेजिटिमेसी एंड प्रोपोर्शनैलिटी, इन तीनों टेस्ट को इस बिल में बहुत ही क्लियर तरीके से रखा गया। तीसरा, सरकार को जो एग्जेम्पशंस दिए गए, सभापति महोदय आपके समक्ष में रखना चाहूँगा कि दुनिया का जो सबसे स्ट्रिंजेंट बिल है, GDPR, यूरोप में जो पालन होता है, उसमें सरकारी कामकाज के लिए, कानून की व्यवस्था के लिए और कोर्ट्स की व्यवस्था के लिए 16 एग्जेम्पशन है, 16 exemptions are there in the GDPR. We have given only 4 exemptions in this bill. So this bill is very pro-citizens, this bill is very much pro-privacy, this bill is very much in the spirit of the government, where we would like to make sure that every citizen's data is fully protected. I request all the honorable members to participate in the debate and pass this bill with unanimous vote. Thank you.
The motion for consideration of the bill is now open for discussion. I now call upon the members whose names have been received for participation in the discussion. Dr. Amar Patnaik.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chairperson. And thank you, Honorable Minister. I think what you forgot to probably mention, that this is one of the most landmark legislations of our country ever after independence. Because as you said very correctly, this is protecting the data of 141.4 billion Indians, male, female, child, everyone's. So this is actually a bill which should have been discussed. I would have been very happy if the other side people would have been there to contribute, and probably he would have taken some suggestions to the rules. There are very, as I said, the most important thing is that this right to privacy has been read into the Constitution by the Puttaswamy judgment as a fundamental right. So this right is now given to citizens by the Constitution. What the bill merely does is that it expands this right, how to exercise it. Otherwise, everyone would have to go to the Supreme Court for implementing that right. Now, the point is whether, while remaining within the four corners of this judgment, which he was referring to, Honorable Minister was referring to, you know, the purpose limitation, collection limitation, storage limitation, accountability, equality, all these. Now, I will also evaluate it from this point of view, from within this framework. There are several good things about the bill, about which I will first mention. And the most important thing, after 6 years, after a lot of deliberation, we have finally got a law. And mind you, this is a law of the largest democracy in the world. A law for one of the largest countries in the world, the other most populous country, I do not know whether they are more than us or not, but they do not have a privacy law at all. No citizen enjoys privacy in China. So this should be welcome. I wholeheartedly congratulate the government, the minister, the prime minister for this entire thing. Second, as he pointed out, this is a gender-neutral law. For the first time, the word "her" has been used, and this is in line with our Honorable Chief Minister Naveen Patnaik's entire model of governance, which is to empower the women more and more, and this will go on to actually empower our women, which falls in line with our ideology. The third point is that the Supreme Court judgment of Puttaswamy, while saying that this is a fundamental right, personal data has to be protected, also said that we have to take advantage of this data for growth of the digital economy, for growth of our country. So balance had to be arrived at. There should be no regulatory overload. So in this point, I support the minister and the bill and the government for no compliance overload at the threshold itself, at the beginning. The earlier versions had a compliance overload at the beginning. The next one, it is very simple, principle-based, because rules should actually take care of the procedures, which was probably not there in the earlier versions of the bill, or even in EU GDPR to that extent. The third thing which I want to point out is illustrations. The bill, for the first time, I have not seen a bill in government which writes illustrations. The next point is it has created a strong deterrence against data breach. While making the threshold easy, what is not stymieing innovation, it has made the punishments harsh so that people will try to build their own mechanisms to protect the data of citizens. It has removed the concept of anonymized data. Now, I'll explain this in one line, that they were using the previous versions, or even EU GDPR uses the fact that if you can encrypt your data, then the others can use it. But this bill, to that extent, I think this is a very positive thing. It treats data, personal data per se, whether anonymized or non-anonymized. If it can be related to that particular person, then I think it falls under the regulations of this particular bill. The next point is alternate dispute redressal at section clause 31. He referred to it. It is very nice. And also, I would like to say the point which Honorable Minister mentioned about voluntary disclosure, voluntary compliance. So now I will refer to that particular provision straight away. And that particular provision is at section clause 32. Now, I'll refer to clause 32.4. The clause 32.4 says, the acceptance of the voluntary undertaking by the board shall constitute a bar on proceedings under the provisions of this act as regards the contents of the voluntary undertaking, except in cases covered by subsection 5. This is something like a commitment under the competition law which we brought in. But the point is, how can it be a bar if the data principal himself or herself is not satisfied? This is something that I think you have to examine. Now I'll come to some of the suggestions which I hope the Honorable Minister will take it in stride and probably bring in rules to incorporate some of this. While we have waxed eloquent about data protection, the words which I didn't find in the bill is privacy. The Supreme Court's judgment was full of informational privacy within inverted commas all over. This privacy word is missing in the bill. Compensation is missing in the bill. Harm is missing in the bill. Why harm is important, which I know it has been excluded because of a purpose, but I will make my argument why it is probably necessary. The clause 2O, which is the definitions, it incorporates, it outlines gain means, loss means. It basically interprets the entire data breach in financial terms. What happens if there is a reputational loss because of a data breach? What happens if there is a bodily injury? Now, you might say that you can use the Criminal Procedure Code, CRPC, and IPC and CRPC to try that person. But it has to be read with this particular act in order to make the provision stronger and stringent for such kind of breaches, because a reputational breach for a woman is much stronger than a man. And a reputational breach might even lead to suicides. So this is a point which I wish the Honorable Minister would clarify. The next point is relating to, again, Section 3, relating to processing. So only of Indians, it gives the description. So my clarification from the Honorable Minister would be, any person, in our fundamental rights, the word is person, not citizen. So any person enjoys fundamental rights in our country. So if there is if Indians or anyone, what about other countries' data processed in India? And if there is a breach, what happens to that? Now I come straight to, Honorable Minister spoke about data minimization as one of the guiding principles, but unfortunately in Section 4.2, there is no such provision. It is only limited to purpose limitation. Data minimization is at the core of, as a preventive measure against future data breaches. I think this is something which probably has been missed out somewhere, which was there in the earlier version of the bill. I will now come to Section 7. Section 7, Clause 7, certain legitimate uses, and there 7B to page number 6. It says that for the state and any instrumentalities to provide or issue to the data principal a data fiduciary may proceed personal data, may process personal data of a data principal for any of the following. Namely, they have given the things, and one of the section, that is subsection B, says, for the state and any of its instrumentalities to provide or issue to the data principal such subsidy, benefit, service, certificate, license or permit as may be prescribed where, and then number 2, such personal data is available in digital form or in non-digital form and digitized subsequently from, I'm not reading the full thing, to say, which is maintained by the state or any of its instrumentalities and is notified by the central government. Now, I fail to understand why it is to be notified by the central government. There are state laws, states give benefits, states give the same thing. States give subsidy, benefit, service, certificate, license. Lot of these things, permit, everything is given by the state, and they are governed by the state laws, state schemes, and why should it be notified by the central government? And therefore, my plea is that here somewhere, appropriate government, whether central and state, has to be brought into the bill. And number 2, the adjudication mechanism or the grievance redressal mechanism has to be therefore linked to that particular thing, that the state level data protection boards have to be set up. Honorable Minister said that digital by design. I think privacy by design is more important, because even 25% of people in rural areas do not have access to a device or internet. It's a rural Orissa, let us say, the total internet intensity is, I think, 36%. So I think this is something one has to think about. And my argument, once again, one of the conditions for selection of chairman, you have said that he may be proficient in consumer protection. So you admit that consumer protection law is similar, in which case consumer protection authorities are available at the district level itself. And they do deal with cases in which e-commerce platforms are supplying and fail to give the kind of right kind of food, right kind of services.
Honourable member, please conclude.
Then I come to a point relating to the power of the government. I think the power of the government, that is section 10, there should be, I think it has come in the rules, the central government or the board should have the power to conduct audits and inspections at any time. This is a provision probably which has been missed out. The another point again at section 9.5, clause 9.5, the central government may, if satisfied that the data fiduciary has ensured that this processing personal for children. Now the state governments have equal right. Why should it not be the state government? If a child's privacy has been affected in Malkangiri or in, let's say, in Kashmir, in Ladakh, why should the central government be all the time, one has to run to get it notified or to satisfied that a data fiduciary has made a mistake? The next point is relating to section 17. Minister talked about exemptions. But I think the proportionality aspect, which is one of the foundations of the Puttaswamy judgment, is not mentioned in this. I would suggest this has to come somewhere here if it will be tested against this Puttaswamy judgment later in the constitutional courts. Reasonableness, fairness, necessity, and proportionality. These 4 have to come in. We may have the least number of exemptions, but we need to, while imposing this particular exemptions, it should not be blanket, but as narrow as possible. And the restrictions at 17.2a, which has been mentioned, I think should be restricted to Article 19.2 reasonable restrictions, which is given. I carry Article 19.2, in which one of the provisions where reasonable restrictions shall apply is decency or morality. Decency or morality cannot be done in terms of gain or loss. So this should actually feature somewhere in terms of, the breach of data leading to indecency, leading to, or immoral activities, leading to reputational loss, leading to bodily injury or anything more. The another point which I would like to say, Honorable Vice Chairman, sir, Vice Chairman, ma'am, is the fact that there is at page 12, 3, this is section, 17. So 17.3, there has been a carve-out, an exemption which has been given for startups. And the carve-out has been given for, maintaining the confidentiality, integrity of the data. I think for any startup, even confidentiality, integrity should be a feature. They have to do this much basic minimum. Carve-out could be given to them to reduce their compliance cost. But carve-out may not be given to them for maintaining the confidentiality, integrity and completeness of the data, because this data, if it is incomplete, using generative AI, it can give you completely different relations and discrimination
Honourable
may continue.
Member,
So, Honourable Minister may kindly consider. Ma'am, I'll just take one more
30
minute
seconds.
with Minister's permission. The Chair's permission, ma'am. I was referring to the BJP side. Ma'am, by the way, the Minister is also representing Odisha, so, you know, he's with us. Sorry. So the point here is relating to the powers, functions and procedures to be followed by the board, clause 27. Now, this particular board will be sitting in judgment over possible data breaches by organizations like central government, state government, Chief Minister's Office, Supreme Court, High Court, Chief Election Commissioner, CAG, all the constitutional bodies. So do you think the current structure which has been prescribed would be sufficient to handle data breach by these organizations who are themselves constitutional bodies? Constitutional bodies. And impose penalty on them in case such a breach has happened. The appellate tribunal, I think this is an innovation they have done. Instead of building another tribunal, I support, ma'am, I'll finish this here. I support this particular thing because Honorable Minister has already clarified the RTI aspect. But in RTI aspect, I think also there is a necessity for clarifying. It says information which relates to personal information. But personal information has not been defined in the bill. It is personal data. So I think that particular clarity also has to be brought in. And the penalties have to be... Ma'am, just last 30 seconds. Penalties, ma'am. Penalties in the schedule, section 33(1). The penalty for breach in observance of additional obligations in the relation to children under section 9 has been made 200 crores. But, you know, penalty against children has to be much more stringent. It should be 250. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chairperson, sorry, ma'am. I have one serious objection in relation to the bill, and which I want to ventilate to the Honourable Minister personally. This seems to be like a conspiracy against lawyers because the language is so simple. Normally, we lawyers, we use the expression a lawyer's thicket. The language is complex, then the lawyers tend to make hay. Now, I think the Honourable Minister wants to keep the lawyers out of business. My friend, Mr. Amar Patnaik, Honourable Member, had mentioned that another very interesting feature of this Act, Madam, has been that they have used illustrations, which after a very long time, when I am referring to laws very regularly, I go back to Contract Act of 19th century and a few of the very old laws where illustrations would be used. This Act uses illustrations for explaining the point, which even as a senior counsel, I found it very useful because some of these terms are very new to most of us. So when I saw the illustration, I could immediately understand what the section meant. So this is a very significant feature of the new legislative policy that the central government has undertaken. I compliment the Prime Minister, the Honourable Minister and the government. Ma'am, I think the bill starts off on a very interesting and important point where it treats the person receiving the information as a fiduciary. So this is in the nature of a trust. So I think that itself sets out the context in which how when information is shared by an individual, what is the responsibility that the person who is getting the information ought to discharge. So the use of the expression fiduciary in one quick expression sets out the whole context of the responsibilities that are placed on them. So this is again very laconic and very quickly explaining the entire responsibility on the person. Now, without deviating from the architecture of the Act, Madam, as I mentioned, the Act is simple, it is principle based, it does not offer too much of complexity, but I think a few areas can be improved without deviating, as I mentioned, Madam, from the architecture of the Act. One, I have an equal concern as Honourable Member Mr. Patnaik mentioned, notwithstanding the Honourable Minister's statement that privacy would be fully protected, Puttaswamy judgment of the Honourable Supreme Court would be fully covered. I would as a lawyer still be little worried, Madam, that the power which has been granted of exempting the government is little sweeping. It possibly is capable of a misuse at some point of time in future. But I also find, madam, that clause 37 of the bill enables the government to issue further directions to giving effect to the provisions of the Act itself. So if this power can be used, clause 37 can be used, because I welcome the Honorable Minister's statement that no part of Puttaswamy judgment or the right of privacy as a fundamental right is intended to be breached. So we put at rest any worries or qualms on this front if certain directions can be given in the nature of guidelines or any other manner that the Honorable Minister may deem fit. It may set at rest a lot of these misguided apprehensions possibly. Then, madam, the second feature that I find is in the cross-border processing that has been restricted in certain sense. Clause 10(2) states that this act would be applicable for the processing out cross-border of any information only if goods and services are provided in India. Now, this may take outside the fold processing of information for any potential harms that may eventually be inflicted on India. So, apart from the act being made applicable when goods and services are rendered in India, I would suggest that the government may consider whether they also need to include the mischief of any harm being visited upon any citizens or persons in India by a processing of the Indian data citizens' private data outside India. Then the fourth point, madam, that I wanted to mention is with regard to the provisions relating to children. Clause 9(5) provides that the central government may, if it is satisfied that a particular data fiduciary has maintained a particular safety threshold, then specific to that data fiduciary, the central government may lower the age from 18. Just very quickly to give the references of other countries, ma'am. UK and US have an age limit of 13 years, which has been looked at the threshold age for children to give consent. EU has 18, but member states can reduce it to 13. Possibly India has taken 18 as the age because that is the contractual age for the purpose of a person giving consent to enter into a contract. But while that may be, I am suggesting that the central government power, instead of it being data fiduciary specific, it could be sector specific. For instance, madam, if in education, if they want to reduce, because a lot of children are now using data for the purpose of educating themselves, an education sector, a particular gaming sector which is not staking money, if sector specific power is exercised by the central government, a lot of central government responsibility can be given to the data protection board with regard to data fiduciary specific exemption for reducing the age. So, central government sets out the areas where the age can be reduced, and the data protection board will grant permission to the data fiduciaries which maintain that safety threshold. Then, madam, one other important thing that I thought I must bring the government's attention to is the exemption provision for data fiduciaries, class of fiduciaries or startups. Now, this should not be misused because a potential big data aggregator could set up what we call data mining startup. The only purpose of a startup will be that it will call itself startup. It will mine data if there is an exemption granted to all categories of startups and use that data for the purpose of channeling it for some other purposes. So, some of these exemptions that are likely to be granted may have to be conditioned by specific conditions that may be mentioned. Then lastly, madam, the concept of consent manager is a very welcome step because it will be difficult for individual members, madam, to start.
You have 1 minute to conclude.
Yes, ma'am, I have 1 minute. I'll finish it in 1 minute, ma'am. The consent manager, this concept is a very welcome feature because what may happen is lot of people could then grant that right to a consent manager, but some of these provisions relating to how a consent manager would then operate need to be fleshed out little more. This is an enabling feature in the Act. It is welcome, but as I mentioned, madam, that it may have to be fleshed out a little more. So, ma'am, I would compliment the government for coming up with a progressive light touch regulation. I know that the government is testing the waters. It is reposing trust on a wide variety of factors. I'm sure the government would come in and make more stringent provisions if this trust is going to be breached by any of the persons. So for a starting step, I think we have a first-rate legislation, and I compliment the government, and my party fully supports it. Thank you.
Shri Kanaka Medala Ravindra Kumar.
Thank you, Madam, for giving this opportunity. The bill was brought into existence originally. Now the government has come with a new draft bill. With regard to the bill, first straight away go to the definitions part. Section 7, important Section 7 deals with certain legitimate uses. That is clause 7. Definitions in clause 2D. Certain legitimate uses means referred in Section 7. Section 7 doesn't indicate any definition with regard to certain legitimate uses. This Section 7, a marginal heading, certain legitimate use, empower the state to process the personal data principle under 9 situations, A to F, A to I, except clause A, that is, for the specified purpose, data principal has voluntarily provided for his personal data. Except clause A, the rest of 8 situations gives the government complete power to process the personal data on one pretext or the other. In view of this, there is a serious concern among the public-spirited people that the bill promotes state surveillance. This is an important has to be looked into. There is a clear-cut ambiguity with the definition and also its implementation. Then clause 6, prior to this clause 7, the consent given by the data principal shall be pre-specific, informed, unconditional, and ambiguous. This is also important with regard to the consent. The consent, how to obtain, what is the procedure. If it is consent, there is under Contract Act, there is specific provisions, undue influence, coercion, there are certain apprehensions are there. On technical ground, on the consent has already been obtained under clause 6, they can't proceed on its own. Coming to the other provisions, clause 16. Clause 16, central government may by notification restrict the processing of personal data outside India. This is also important clause. Nothing contained in this section shall restrict the applicability of any law for the time being in force in India for a higher degree protection or restriction or transfer of personal data by data judiciary outside the India relations of
1
any
minute
person.
to conclude.
This
1
also.
minute. Please conclude. You have 1 minute to conclude.
No, time. Only other sort of time. It's an important subject. It has to be cut. Okay, 1 minute you have already. Coming to the clause 18, Data Protection Board. It provides establishment of Data Protection Board. The plain reading of the section provision, clause 18, reveals that the government had too much influence over the proposed Data Protection Board. The provision not even stipulated how many members will be there on the board. This has given more power to the central government according to their choice. The government aimed towards surveillance state, and on the other hand, given vast power to the executive arm to the state to prescribe the composition of Data Protection Board of India. This is not a good symptom that has to be reconsidered. Sir, on RT, there are clause, final clause 44, madam.
Sir.
Lastly, clause 44, it's prior to that, clause 29, on appellate authority, there is no specific provision with regard to the appellate authority. It has to be read with clause 44. Clause 44 deals with 3 enactments, and that is information technology.
Thank you, sir.
Right to information and also Telecom Regulatory Authority. All these three actions will be amended. The intention of the Right to Information Act will be diluted. In view of these difficulties,
it is not
the
going on
Honourable
record.
Minister
Shri
has to
G.K.
look
Vasan,
into
your time is
and
started.
take
Not
care
recording
of
it. Shri
so
G.K.
not
Vasan, your
to
time is
dilute
started.
the provisions of the main act under section 44, clause 44. Thank you, Madam.
Sir, I stand here to support this bill on behalf of my party, sir. Sir, we all, Madam, we all know that unprecedented growth in the digital sector in India. No doubt, ma'am. At the same time, when the amount of data we produce increase, when the amount of data we produce increase, some of the dangers also increase in the country. Maybe cyber criminals, hackers, and even hostile countries were using lapses in our system to compromise on our database, seriously affecting citizen security and national security. I would like the Minister to throw light on this subject. And one more important point is, almost 1/3 of our internet users are under 18 years. The new bill ensures that no organization or individual would be able to process any of our minors' data without parents' approval or the approval of their guardians, ensuring a safe digital space where they are in no danger for any form of harm. We see in televisions and papers, ma'am, small children are subjected to tests by many people using these data. I'm sure this will protect them, but at the same time, when it comes to the question of national security and maintaining law and order, what is the accountability and responsibility? I'm sure the Minister will throw light on this. The last point, ma'am, which I would like to say is, for medical research, we need data about medical profile of patient. Will this bill be detrimental to medical research which is based on statistics? This particular bill, ma'am, could play a large role in forwarding our Honorable Prime Minister's vision of transforming India into a developed country with digitization drive as one of the key pillars in manner that could protect and never compromise our citizens' privacy and security. With this, I support this bill. Thank you, ma'am.
Shri V. Vijay Sai Reddy.
Thank you, Vice Chairperson, Madam. Madam, I, on behalf of my party and my leader, support the bill. Madam, there is only one issue which I would like to bring to the notice of the Honorable Minister through you, Madam. There's only one issue. I'll take 2 minutes, Madam. The issue is how to protect the telephone tapping. Madam, the telephone tapping can be done, mobile telephone tapping can be done, either by taking control of the speaker what we have in the telephone, or even the camera what we have on the reverse of the telephone. We need not necessarily use the service provider or the what is called we get the waves from the telephone tower to our phone. Need not use it. In fact, I have physically seen the demonstration that has been given by a foreign company that any app, whether it is WhatsApp or FaceTime or Telegraph or Signal, anything can be tapped. They have shown the demonstration also, and I have physically seen with my own eyes. The only thing, those who could see, the only condition what they are imposing, particularly the companies which are selling this software abroad, they will sell this software only to the government or government companies or government institutions, not companies, institutions. But in the guise of buying it by the government departments, there are so many private players who are buying it also and using them using this software for their own personal purposes with ulterior motives. When I negotiated with them for an academic purpose, there are so many softwares. Almost about 15 to 20 softwares are there. And each is costing about ranging from 50 crores to 100 crores. Those who could afford to spend about 50 to 100 crores of rupees and annual maintenance contract of say 20% can tap anybody's telephone. And I can send a bug to my political opponent, Mr. Ravindra Kumar, or he can send a bug to my telephone, which they have done it during their period of 2014 to 2019, when Telugu Desam Party has ruled the state. They have sent the bug and they have tapped our telephones.
Please speak on the bill.
So therefore, there is a possibility that the telephone can be bugged, and then the data can be procured by various persons. Sir. I request the Honorable Minister.
1 minute to conclude. You have 1 minute, sir, to conclude.
Yes, ma'am. I request the Honorable Minister to find out a solution and bring this, the sellers particularly, those who are selling to the government, it is fine. Those who are selling to the government department, it is fine. I don't know about the law, whether the law prevents it or law permits it, I don't know. But those who are buying it in the name of the government departments and using it for their own personal purposes, particularly the personal data. And the people like Ravindra Kumar will target my personal data. So that is to be protected. I want to know from the Honorable Minister, how does he protect my personal data from these institutions or persons who are trying to secure the personal data through illegal means. Thank you very much, Madam. We support this bill.
Dr. M. Thambidurai.
Thank you, Vice Chairperson. Madam, I support the bill brought by Aswini ji regarding the Digital Personal Data Protection Bill 2023. I am supporting this on my party. Madam, I am very happy that the Minister not rationally introduced this bill. He introduced and also said, referred to select committee. Select committee, it has gone through and so many recommendations given. That is the procedure. The procedure is followed. And I think because that of other members gave so many suggestions, he would have taken for that. But in that, as one worry is regarding the health, data. Any persons on the hospitals, they were collecting about these health conditions, everything. This is a personal data, more or less. How you are going to protect that? Because it is going to the hospital, that may be reviewed also. Because, for example, if you go any minister, immediately media is coming. The minister has got some problem, health problem, heart attack, something. It is going publicized. That where it comes means the hospital itself, from that only it is going. It is not big. Even if you confidentially go in any car to the hospital, before reaching there, the media is publishing. What is this problem the man is facing, the minister is facing, the MP is facing. This is the personal things also, this kind of data is revealed. But how you are going to protect, I don't know, because this is very important. Because personal, whatever we are having, is not revealed. The doctors can analyze, they have every right to see my thing. They are given the treatment. It is a confidential thing. The lawyers also, when they are discussing certain points, it's a confidential matter. The clients gives the lawyers a confidential matter. He argues for that. Like that, nowadays digital system, it has come. Because most of the people are using digital. As our honorable member, Vijay Sai Reddy said, even telephone, when we are speaking, that is tapped. But government says, for certain things, tapping is taking place. This is taking place. There is so many scams you would have heard many times how that telephone tapping politicians are taken by government also. Either by ruling party, then afterwards the opposition party. That kind of data is going, the information. That's why here the Digital Personal Protection Bill is legislation that frames out of the rights and duties of the citizen on one hand, and the obligation to use the collected data lawfully of the data fiduciary on the other hand. The bill is based on the following principles, they say. Therefore,
1 minute to conclude.
Yes, madam, what is, we don't know. This is our team building, I can't speak anything. Thank you very much.
Shri Ashwini Vaishnav to reply to the discussion.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson, ma'am. There are very important points which have been raised by honorable members, and I would like to respond to them in very brief. Very erudite explanation and kind of discussion about this judgment. I thank all the honorable members who participated, and I have special thanks for Dr. Patnaik and Mr. Reddy. Both of you are big lawyers, very important lawyers, and you have noted some points which are very important, which probably I didn't want to say. As Mr. Reddy said, Honorable Mr. Reddy said, this is a law in which the language has been very simple, so this is definitely not a lawyer's paradise. So thank you very much for noting this point. Dr. Patnaik mentioned that data minimization principle has not been included. It has been included. If you read the clause 6.1, the data minimization principle is included. Second, regarding the voluntary undertaking of section 32.4, or let me say clause 32.4, the clause 32.4 is applicable when the Data Protection Board has heard both sides. So that's why it is written may, it's not written shall. So that will cover basically this provision. Third, the question about applicability was raised both by Mr. Reddy and by Dr. Patnaik. Mr. Reddy mentioned it in the context of cross-border data transfer. The world of data, Honorable Chairperson ma'am, doesn't follow the boundaries of physical boundaries of nations. So that's why the entire world today, when we legislate anything related to data, the concepts which are evolving today, some of these concepts have been introduced in the bill, have been included in the bill, and there are many more things which are still evolving. This is a field where so many things are happening. Practically every quarter something new happens. New AI has come. So we wanted the entire bill to be drafted in a way which is technology agnostic, which should be able to stand the progress of technology without requiring amendment again and again as and when new technology comes. That's why some of these provisions have been kept, and many of the things will evolve as the Data Protection Board gives its rulings and people understand what's happening, people understand what needs to be further done. So that flexibility is there, and we have kept this bill primarily on principles. We have not kept it prescriptive, so that gives the flexibility of evolving as the sector evolves. There are many points about startups. The carve-out is only on the compliance. Carve-out is not on violation of the basic principles. It is carve-out on the compliance, and when a startup proves a subject, proves a product, then it becomes a regular. So if you read the section 17, the carve-out, it doesn't mention startup. It basically mentions certain classes of data fiduciaries, so which gives us the flexibility to create a regulatory sandbox, and once the regulatory sandbox is used for proving the product, then the entire law can apply. Other things about clause 37, that is about repetitive violations. If any data fiduciary doesn't respect the law, then obviously some stricter force has to be included in the law. Mr. Vijay Sai Reddy mentioned about surveillance. This entire bill, the concept of data protection has been created, the legislation has been brought in primarily for the purpose of bringing in protection of personal data. And as far as any surveillance and other things which are concerned, they are they are always considered as per law and as per the very well-established procedures framed by the Honorable Supreme Court of India. Another honorable member mentioned about research of medical data. The research part is excluded from the, exempted from the bill, basically by the section 17. You can kindly read that section, it will give you the details. And protecting medical health data is also personal data, so that will also be protected. I thank honorable members for excellent discussion. In the end, I would like to mention one more very important point, ma'am. Our country is a very diverse country. We have a very rich culture, a large number of languages are spoken. In this bill, we have attempted that all the languages mentioned in the 8th schedule of the Constitution should be given due importance, and that's why any consent form, any notice will have to be offered in any of the 22 scheduled languages, 22 languages of the 8th schedule. So this will give a lot of accessibility to the common citizens. Thank you very much.
The question is that the Digital Personal Data Protection Bill 2023 as passed by Lok Sabha be taken into consideration. Those in favor will please say aye. Aye. Those against will please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the motion is adopted. We shall now take up clause by clause consideration of the bill. Clause 2 stands part of the bill. There are 2 amendments. Number 2 by Shri Binoy Vishwam. Number 22 by Dr. John Britas. Members absent, amendments not moved. I shall now put clause 2 to vote. Those in favor will please say aye. Aye. Those against will please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it. Clause 2 is adopted. Clause 3 stands part of the bill. There are 2 amendments. Number 23 and 24 by Dr. John Britas. Member absent, amendments not moved. I shall now put clause 3 to vote. Those in favor will please say aye. Aye. Those against will please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it. Clause 3 is adopted. Clauses 4 and 5 stand part of the bill. Those in favor will please say aye. Those against will please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it. Clauses 4 and 5 are adopted. Clause 6 stands part of the bill. There are 2 amendments. Number 3 and 4 by Shri Binoy Vishwam. Member absent, amendments not moved. I shall now put clause 6 to vote. Those in favor will please say aye. Aye. Those against will please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it. Clause 6 is adopted. Clause 7 stands part of the bill. There are 8 amendments. Number 5 to 8 by Shri Binoy Vishwam. Number 25 to 28 by Dr. John Britas. Members absent, amendments not moved. I shall now put clause 7 to vote. Those in favor will please say aye. Aye. Those against will please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it. Clause 7 is adopted. Clause 8 stands part of the bill. There are 6 amendments. Number 29 to 34 by Dr. John Britas. Member absent, amendments not moved. I shall now put clause 8 to vote. Those in favor will please say aye. Aye. Those against will please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it. Clause 8 is adopted. Clause 9 stands part of the bill. There are 4 amendments. Number 35 to 38 by Dr. John Britas. Member absent, amendments not moved. I shall now put clause 9 to vote. Those in favor will please say aye. Aye. Those against will please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it. Clause 9 is adopted. Clause 10 stands part of the bill. Those in favor will please say aye. Aye. Those against will please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it. Clause 10 is adopted. Clause 11 stands part of the bill. There is 1 amendment. Number 39 by Dr. John Britas. Member absent, amendment not moved. I shall now put clause 11 to vote. Those in favor will please say aye. Aye. Those against will please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it. Clause 11 is adopted. Clause 12 stands part of the bill. Those in favor will please say aye. Aye. Those against will please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it. Clause 12 is adopted. Clause 13 stands part of the bill. There is one amendment, number 9 by Shri Binoy Vishwam. Member absent, amendment not moved. I shall now put clause 13 to vote. Those in favor will please say aye. Those against will please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it. Clause 13 is adopted. Clause 14 stands part of the bill. Those in favor will please say aye. Those against will please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it. Clause 14 is adopted. Clause 15 stands part of the bill. There are two amendments, number 11 and 10 and 11 by Shri Binoy Vishwam. Member absent. Amendment not moved. I shall now put clause 15 to vote. Those in favor will please say aye. Those against will please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it. Clause 15 is adopted. Clause 16 stands part of the bill. Those in favor will please say aye. Those against will please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it. Clause 16 is adopted. Clause 17 stands part of the bill. There are 6 amendments. Number 12 by Shri Binoy Vishwam. Number 18 and 19 by Shri A.D. Singh. Number 40 to 42 by Dr. John Brittas. Members absent, amendments not moved. I shall now put clause 17 to vote. Those in favor will please say aye. Those against will please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it. Clause 17 is adopted. Clause 18 stands part of the bill. Those in favor will please say aye. Those against will please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it. Clause 18 is adopted. Clause 19 stands part of the bill. There are 3 amendments. Number 13 by Shri Binoy Vishwam. Number 20 by Shri A.D. Singh. Number 43 by Dr. John Brittas. Members absent, amendments not moved. I shall now put clause 19 to vote. Those in favor will please say aye. Those against will please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it. Clause 19 is adopted. Clauses 20 and 21 stand part of the bill. Those in favor will please say aye. Those against will please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it. Clauses 20 and 21 are adopted. Clause 22 stands part of the bill. There is one amendment, number 44 by Dr. John Brittas. Member absent, amendment not moved. I shall now put clause 22 to vote. Those in favor will please say aye. Those against will please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it. Clause 22 is adopted. Clause 23 stands part of the bill. Those in favor will please say aye. Those against will please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it. Clause 23 is adopted. Clause 24 stands part of the bill. There is one amendment, number 45 by Dr. John Brittas. Member absent, amendment not moved. I shall now put clause 24 to vote. Those in favor will please say aye. Those against will please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it. Clause 24 is adopted. Clauses 25 and 26 stand part of the bill. Those in favor will please say aye. Those against will please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it. Clauses 25 and 26 are adopted. Clause 27 stands part of the bill. There is one amendment, number 46 by Dr. John Brittas. Member absent, amendment not moved. I shall now put clause 27 to vote. Those in favor will please say aye. Those against will please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it. Clause 27 is adopted. Clause 28 stands part of the bill. There is one amendment, number 14 by Shri Binoy Vishwam. Member absent, amendment not moved. I shall now put clause 28 to vote. Those in favor will please say aye. Those against will please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it. Clause 28 is adopted. Clauses 29 to 31 stand part of the bill. Those in favor will please say aye. Those against will please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it. Clauses 29 to 31 are adopted. Clause 32 stands part of the bill. There is one amendment, number 47, by Dr. John Brittas. Member absent, amendment not moved. I shall now put clause 32 to vote. Those in favor will please say aye. Those against will please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it. Clause 32 is adopted. Clauses 33 to 35 stand part of the bill. Those in favor will please say aye. Those against will please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it. Clauses 33 to 35 are adopted. Clause 36 stands part of the bill. There is one amendment, number 15 by Shri Binoy Vishwam. Member absent, amendment not moved. I shall now put clause 36 to vote. Those in favor will please say aye. Those against will please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it. Clause 36 is adopted. Clause 37 stands part of the bill. There is one amendment, number 16 by Shri Binoy Vishwam. Member absent, amendment not moved. I shall now put clause 37 to vote. Those in favor will please say aye. Those against will please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it. Clause 37 is adopted. Clause 38 stands part of the bill. Those in favor will please say aye. Those against will please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it. Clause 38 is adopted. Clause 39 stands part of the bill. There is one amendment, number 48 by Dr. John Brittus. Member absent, amendment not moved. I shall now put clause 39 to vote. Those in favor, please say aye. Those against will please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it. Clause 39 is adopted. Clauses 40 to 43 stand part of the bill. Those in favor will please say aye. Those against will please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it. Clauses 40 to 43 are adopted. Clause 44 stands part of the bill. There are three amendments. Number 17 by Shri Binoy Bishwam. Number 21 by Shri A.D. Singh. Number 49 by Dr. John Brittus. Members absent, amendments not moved. I shall now put clause 44 to vote. Those in favor will please say aye. Those against will please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it. Clause 44 is adopted. The schedule stands part of the bill. Those in favor will please say aye. Those against will please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it. The schedule is adopted. Clause 1 and the enacting formula stand part of the bill. Those in favor will please say aye. Those against will please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it. Clause 1 and the enacting formula are adopted. The long title stands part of the bill. There is one amendment, number 1 by Shri Binoy Vishwam. Member absent, amendment not moved. I shall now put the long title to vote. Those in favor will please say aye. Those against will please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it. The long title is adopted. Shri Ashwini Vaishnav to move that the bill be passed.
Honorable Chairperson, ma'am, I rise to move that the Digital Personal Data Protection Bill 2023 be passed.
Motion moved that the bill be passed. The question is that the bill be passed. Those in favor will please say aye. Those against will please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it. The bill is passed.
Ma'am, in the today's legislative business list, there are a couple of more bills that are listed. But I would propose that we take up the Coastal Aquaculture Authority Act 2005 as passed by the Lok Sabha to consideration and dispose of. Till then, we may extend the sitting of the House.
Please. So we agree that we extend the time beyond 6. Sense of the House? Yes. Okay. This? Yes. I continue this. The Coastal Aquaculture Authority Amendment Bill 2023. Shri Prashottam Rupala to move a motion for consideration of the Coastal Aquaculture Authority Amendment Bill 2023.
Thank you, Upsapapati Mahodaya. With your permission, I move that the bill to amend the Coastal Aquaculture Authority Act 2005 as passed by Lok Sabha be taken into consideration.
Motion moved. There is one amendment by Dr. V. Sivadasan for reference of the Coastal Aquaculture Authority Amendment Bill 2023 as passed by Lok Sabha to a select committee of the Rajya Sabha. Member may move the amendment at this stage without any speech. Member absent, amendment not moved. I now call upon the members whose names have been received for participation in the discussion. Dr. Shashmit Patra.
Thank you, Honorable Vice Chairperson, ma'am. It is a bill which is extremely crucial and important to the state of Odisha. And since it's important to the state of Odisha, I come from the state of Odisha. We have 480 kilometers of coastline. And at the opening, I would like to thank the Honorable Minister for bringing such a wonderful bill. And I and my party, the Biju Janata Dal, and our leader, Honorable Chief Minister Shri Naveen Patnaik ji, we support this bill. It is a good bill and needs to have come. Honorable Vice Chairperson, ma'am, there are 2 or 3 issues I'd like to raise at this point of time, 2 or 3 matters rather. We have talked about the green revolution that has taken place in our country. We have talked about the white revolution that has taken place in our country. And today we are at the cusp of the blue revolution because of the blue economy that has been brought in by the Honorable Minister and this government. I equivocally support this move that has been brought about it. There are 2 specific areas. One is Odisha. The state of Odisha has a 480-kilometer coastline. There are immense opportunities that are there. I would really like to take this opportunity. Rupala ji is a very sensitive, is a very considerate and a compassionate minister. I'm sure he'll consider this request to set up a research facility in the state of Odisha, which will primarily research not only on the species, but also to ensure that those specific features that have been brought in research and development, and how to ensure that pathogens and other such diseases are kept away, and how to ensure through research and development that proper protocols are set in terms of ensuring that aquaculture can be taken place, will be there. I can tell you on behalf of our government in Odisha, we will provide you all support. But considering that Odisha today is doing so well in aquaculture, it would be a wonderful approach to have a research center there which would work on these areas. Second, the lake, Chilika Lake. We all know it's the largest brackish lake, and Chilika Lake has a huge biodiversity and is a prime area for aquaculture. Especially shrimp farming is something that has been done over a period of time. It needs to be more strengthened, needs to be more structured. And I'm sure the Honorable Minister, who is so kind, and recently he was in Bhubaneswar, he held meetings, and I'm sure that he will take it forward along with Honorable Minister MOS. I know my honorable colleagues are quite, impatient to actually end it. I'll just talk about 2 or 3 points. One, a wonderful thing that the bill is talking about is the aquaculture input. Now, in the aquaculture input, they are talking about specifying growth supplements, environment remediators, and disinfectants. Usually, ma'am, aquaculture inputs are the cause for poisoning in aquaculture. And therefore, it is critical and most important that the protocols should be set by the ministry and taken down to the farmers on the ground so that appropriate growth supplement, remediators, and disinfectants can be taken care of. Second, a wonderful thing is being done in terms of aqua mapping. I think aqua mapping is a wonderful thing where geospatial coastal area distribution and maps providing potential and coastal aquaculture is coming up. I think this is the first time in the country and will be a landmark where specific areas will be identified. I would request the Honorable Minister to share it with the states like Odisha, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, so that we can also share with the entrepreneurs and the startups in the coastal areas to look at how they can do maximum potential in doing so. Honorable Sir, there has been a biosecured facility that has been actually introduced now in this specific bill, which talks about adopting such biosecurity measures for ensuring freedom from disease-causing pathogens. Many a times this stays within the confines of research and development. I would urge the Honorable Minister to integrate this entire research and development with the agricultural universities. Many agricultural universities like in Odisha, which is the Odisha University of Agriculture and Technology, it does a lot of extension work among the farmers in the aquaculture area as well. So I would urge that if they could also integrate it and do extension activities would be really nice. I would come to biosecurity, and in biosecurity I would say that they have talked about a very good initiative, which is to manage and prevent the risk of introduction of spread of harmful organisms, including viruses and bacteria, within coastal aquaculture unit. This would be my last point, sir, and I'll close with this. Sir, I have seen personally on the coastline of Odisha many entrepreneurs who are doing extremely well, and they've got a good harvest, and suddenly such bacteria and viruses come in. It not only destroys the harvest, it destroys the entire business, and they can never recoup from that business that they have. So therefore, some kind of a remedial measure, whether it's a credit link facility, whether it's a reassurance or reinsurance model, some form has to be provided, because today when we're talking about Make in India and Startup India, we have to realize innovation and startups need some support. So if in a harvest season, suddenly there is a poisoning or some kind of a pathogen walks in, it destroys the entire flock, and thereby the entire industry goes into a collapse. So for that, I think we have to, it's not only limited to animal husbandry and fisheries, it's a larger perspective, but I'm sure Honorable Minister, with his wisdom, with his wide experience, will be able to find a measure by which he'll be able to undertake this. With these words, on behalf of Biju Janata Dal and our leader, Honorable Chief Minister, we wholeheartedly support the bill. Thank you.
धन्यवाद श्री मस्तान राव बिडा जी.
Thank you, Vice Chairman ji. Thank you for giving me opportunity to speak on a very important Coastal Aquaculture Authority Amendment Bill 2023. For your kind information, sir, this is my maiden speech. Kindly allow me to speak 15 minutes. So since this is a very important bill, I choose to speak on this bill, sir. Thank you for giving me opportunity. Honorable Chairman, sir, I rise to support this bill on behalf of our YSR Congress Party and our Honorable Chief Minister Sri Jagan Mohan Reddy ji. See, Andhra Pradesh is a very important state, as 60% of the aqua produce of India comes from Andhra Pradesh. So, in the rest of 40% only from the rest of the country. And it is having 1,000 kilometers long coastline also. So now, I feel proud to be a member of this August House as first generation entrepreneur of aqua industry practicing in all the segments of this industry. I have been seeing the rise, the fall and the rise of aqua industry over past 32 years. Aquaculture in general and shrimp industry in particular has grown to this stage mostly due to the enterprise and hard work of farmers and small-time entrepreneurs. This sector had to wade through several regulatory and procedural hurdles and litigation by environmental activists. In spite of all these advances in technology, this sector is still going through the challenges of reaching sustainability due to internal and external factors. Despite all these obstacles, today aqua industry has been growing consistently with an average 8% annual growth over the past one decade, mainly under the able leadership of our Honorable Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi ji and our Honorable Minister Sri Ropala ji, and particularly in Andhra under the able leadership of our Honorable Chief Minister Sri Jagan Mohan Reddy ji, because 60% of produce is coming from Andhra Pradesh alone. If the regulatory roadblocks are removed and the procedure simplified, India can become the world leader in aquaculture with the kind of natural resources in the coastal areas and freshwater bodies we have. With your permission, sir, and for the appreciation of the land members of this August House, I would like to trace the history of aquaculture development in our country very quickly, sir. India has a coastline of 8,129 kilometers and an estimated potential brackish water area of 1.24 million hectares. India is one of the top fish producers and ranks second in aquaculture production in the world. It is estimated that India has 11,86,442 hectares of land area that has potential for brackish water aquaculture. However, an area of about 1,84,263 hectares, that is only 15.5%, is only used for brackish water aquaculture at present in India, sir. The above stated brackish water resources has huge potential for both fish and shellfish culture, shrimps and crabs, lobsters, etc., sir. Apart from that, India reportedly has 233,900 hectares of saline and alkaline soils, out of which only 147 hectares, that is 0.063%, is being utilized. The estimated cumulative brackish water area available in India now stands at 14.2 lakh hectares, out of which only 1.84 lakh hectares, that is 12.98%, are under culture. Sir, this is my maiden speech, sir.
No maiden speech. I have listened 3 times.
No, sir. That is as by party.
Please speak, please.
Thank you, sir. Because this is very, very important bill, sir. For your kind information, there was no separate Minister of Fisheries earlier. After our Honorable Prime Minister has come to the power in 2019 only, this came into existence, and with a huge budget allocation of 20,000 crores for 2019 to 24. That's why now the production has become double. Really, we are thankful to our Honorable Prime Minister and our Honorable Fisheries Minister and our Honorable AP Chief Minister and Coastal State Minister, Chief Ministers also, because this is mainly concentrating on the coastal areas, sir. So that's why.
Right.
Thank you, sir. Apart from that, sorry, for 10 years now, the fisheries sector has exhibited strong growth, 88% per year on the average, with aquaculture growing at an annual average of 18%. India also has a thriving seafood export market valued at $7 billion per annum, and fish and shrimp are the largest agriculture export commodity of India. Expanding from the 8 billion in 2006, the export from this sector is likely to surpass 70 billion by 2030 under our Prime Minister able leadership, sir. India has shown continuous and sustained increments in shrimp production from the level of 75,000 metric tons during 2008-9 to a record of 84 lakh tons in 2022-23, sir. India's seafood exports doubled from 30,213 crores in 2013-14 to 63,969 crores in 2022 and 23, sir, with shrimp contributing the lion's share of exports, that is 43,135 crores of Indian rupees, sir, under able leadership of our Honorable Prime Minister and able leadership of our Honorable Chief Minister, sir. In fact, the states of Andhra Pradesh, Gujarat, Odisha and Tamil Nadu, West Bengal have contributed substantially to the growth of the aquaculture shrimp production and export, sir. Historical development of shrimp culture in India, sir. Shrimp farming in India started with the Government of India scheme of All India Coordinated Research Project on Brackish Water Fish Farm in 1976-78 at Polkoru Farm near Kakinada in Andhra Pradesh, sir. The tiger shrimp culture in the country, tiger shrimp is that your native species, sir, in the country developed very rapidly during early 1990s. However, with the outbreak of white spot disease syndrome in latter half of 1994, the industry was on the edge of near collapse. To combat the challenges of P. monodon, that is the black tiger farming, widely cultivated in the L. venami, widely cultivated in the US and Western Hemisphere, was considered as an alternative species owing to its specific pathogen-free disease status, sir. The government of India subsequently permitted the commercial production of L. vename in the country in 2009 with strict regulatory guidelines. With the production of L. vename, that is white shrimp, into the country, there has been a boom in the coastal aquaculture. As a result, India has emerged as one of the largest shrimp producers and exporters in the world. Today, coastal aquaculture is one of the major success stories crafted by thousands of hard-working small aqua farmers and educated youth of 2 to 4 hectares land holdings around the fulcrum of vibrant policy support of Government of India, sir. Coastal aquaculture facilitated creation of millions of jobs and self-employment opportunities, enhanced incomes of aqua farmers, catalyzed growth of aquaculture business and entrepreneurship, and enabled development of a vibrant aquaculture support industry. Presently, a total of 428 shrimp seed production hatcheries spread all over the coastlines with a production of 125 billion shrimp seeds to cater the needs of the aqua farmers. India has the installed feed production capacity of 2.8 million metric tons per annum, as against the current requirement of around 1.2 million metric tons shrimp feed per annum, sir. Indian seafood processing industry has 613, that is 613, registered seafood processing facilities with the processing capacity of 33,653 metric tons per day production capacity, sir.
अब समाप्त करें
Genesis, yes, sir. This first time, sir, kind of this very important bill, sir. With great pain, our Honorable Minister of Fisheries, after visiting the Andaman Islands and Tamil Nadu and the coastal states, he personally, got an idea to protect this industry. Thankful to our Honorable Minister, sir.
मछली पकड़ने के मास्टर हैं.
The Indian coastal aquaculture sector had witnessed the nightmare during 1990s with the perception that coastal aquaculture is polluting. Enforcement of Coastal Regulation Zone, that is CRZ notification in 1991, which triggered the Honorable Apex Court's landmark ruling in S. Jagannathan versus Union of India and others, coupled with devastation caused by the white spot disease, sir. This has brought the Indian coastal aquaculture sector to the verge of its collapse. Constitution of Coastal Aquaculture Authority under Coastal Aquaculture Authority Act 2005 on the direction of the Honorable Supreme Court of India saved the sector from collapse, sir. 18 years have gone after the enactment of the Coastal Aquaculture Authority Act 2005. The coastal aquaculture sector bounced back during the last 1 decade with an annual average growth rate of 11%, sir. Though the principal act has specifically excluded coastal aquaculture from the purview of CRZ notification, the legal entities and courts have passed orders in contrary to it, sir. Further, Section 13, subsection 8 of the Principal Act, which prohibits coastal aquaculture within no development zone of the aquaculture regulation zone, that is CRZ, has been interpreted by the legal entities and courts to be applicable. Sir, House is also
बहुत ज़्यादा होगी ना.
full strength, kindly.
इतनी ज़्यादा इकट्ठी कर ली मछलियाँ आपने. आप विराज जाएं तो ठीक.
So this is a very important 2 points I will read out, sir. Then it has been interpreted by legal entities and courts to be applicable to the hatcheries also due to the lack of clarity in the provisions of the Principal Act, sir. This has triggered a crisis in this sunrise sector, and the coastal aquaculture farmers, entrepreneurs, and the entire coastal aquaculture sector is facing the same threat and nightmare of the demolition as was faced during 1990s, sir. Thus, the purpose of enacting the Coastal Aquaculture Authority Act 2005 has been defeated by the inbuilt ambiguities, and hence the amendments to the Coastal Aquaculture Authority Act 2005 is extremely urgent and necessary to save the vibrant and promising sector from the collapse, sir. Based on the experience gained in the implementation of CA Act 2005 over the last, last 1 minute, sir.
Please sit down. आप लिख कर लाए वो पूरा पढ़ेंगे जरूर नहीं है. Please sit down. Shri Kanak Mendata Ravindra Kumar.
Sir, finally, just 2 lines I will read out, sir. Objectives of this amendment.
Please sit down.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Please.
My friend has already taken 6 minutes over. However, yeah.
Thank you.
Sir,
बहुत
I
अच्छा
am
बोले आप.
here to
धन्यवाद.
participate in the consideration and passing of the Coastal Aquaculture Authority Amendment Bill 2023. Sir, the statement and object of reasons of the bill, it has been inter alia stated that the bill seeks to decriminalize the offences under the Act for promoting ease of doing business and to fine-tune of the operational procedures in Coastal Aquaculture Authority to make it more responsive to the needs of the stakeholders. Sir, I would like to give one instance which would cause serious impact on the environment. If strict measures are not taken to control and regulate the aquaculture, effluent treatment system is mandatory for farms above 5 hectares. At least 10% of the total pond area should be earmarked for the effluent treatment system, which may be used for secondary aquaculture projects, particularly for culture of seaweed and other fish, finfish, etc. Such integrated projects will help improving the wastewater quality, reducing the organic and nutrient loads, and producing an additional cash crop. But to everybody's dismay and surprise, most of the shrimp farms operating in the coastal areas do not have effluent treatment system, which severely affected the ecosystem along the coastal areas. Sir, in the year 2020, the National Green Tribunal South Zone at Chennai, while considering one of the matters by it, has inter alia observed that there are shrimp farms, that aqua farms being conducted along the beach, Bay of Bengal coastal line, without getting any necessary permissions, clearances from the respective departments. Since the state government and the ruling party members are cultivating unauthorizedly, and the state government is also permitting them in the state of AP, that's why ecosystem has totally disturbed. It is the entire aquaculture in the Andhra Pradesh under the present government is totally diverted. And sir, whatever the activities that permitted, do the principal act, it must be analyzed with the environmental impact assessment. Then only the feasibility of a coastal-based, marine-based activity can be permitted.
Time is over.
Not even single activity should not be permitted without undertaking studying environmental impact. So it is very unfortunate that the bill neither speaks about effluent treatment system nor environment impact system. In pursuant to the ease of doing business, government should not be permitting harming the environment as well as the ecosystem, particularly in the state of Andhra Pradesh. Hence, I urge the Honourable Minister took into consideration, point out during my course of the
Thank you, Biraj. Please sit down.
Finally, sir, the Andhra Pradesh government is totally neglected all the procedures.
Please sit down.
And that's why
no question of Andhra Pradesh government. Please sit down.
My member has already misled the House. Under the leadership of Jagan Mohan Reddy, the aquaculture has totally destroyed the state of Andhra Pradesh.
Please sit down, please. Sri B. Vijay Sai Reddy.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Thank you, Vice Chairperson, sir. Sir, sir, I raised to support this bill, and on behalf of my party and Sri Y.S. Jagan Mohan Reddy Garu, who is my leader, sir. Sir, now I would like to say at the outset that the damage that has taken place to aquaculture industry during 2014 to 19 is to be, we'll have to undo it, and it is being undone by our government after 2019 when we came to power, sir. And this is the response to my colleague, political opponent colleague, Mr. Kanakamadal Ravindra Kumar, sir. Sir,
please, मेरी तरफ देखिए.
Sir, it has been noted.
उनकी तरफ मत देखिए.
It has been noted that the inputs that are being used by the some of the shrimp farmers, particularly antibiotics, which the foreign importers from India, like Japan and then other countries, whichever country is importing, they have some serious objection, and then the export is being rejected after receiving in their country the shrimp exports. And this problem is to be addressed. I request the Honourable Minister to kindly address the problems of the exporters from India and the importers who are rejecting the consignment, sir. This is point number one, sir. There are two more points also, sir. And there is a comprehensive insurance scheme for for even the agricultural farmers, crop insurance, agricultural farmers like Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana, while there is no such insurance scheme for aquacultural farms. Therefore, I request the Honorable Minister to introduce an insurance scheme which will cover even the aquaculture farmers also, sir. The last point, sir, the third point and last point, 1.38 lakh farmers are employed in the aquaculture operating with power subsidies by the Andhra Pradesh government, with about 26,000 power connections currently receiving the benefits, sir. I request the Honorable Union Minister to aid us, Andhra Pradesh government, in setting up aquaculture university, and the state government has provided 200 acres of land for the university extension and research activities near Narsapuram in West Godavari district, sir. And we need the support and resources from the Union Ministry in setting up incubation centers, skill development centers, and aqua parks to skill more people and eventually double the aquaculture production and vis-a-vis exports also, sir. With this, I support.
धन्यवाद माननीय सदस्य। माननीय डॉक्टर एम थोमेदुराई।
Thank you, Vice Chairman, sir. I am very happy that you are here to protect me to speak some time. Additional time, because this fishery is a very important subject, and also our party, MGR, is the fisherman folks always like to approach it like MGR. That is why I am telling you. First of all, I am happy that the Honorable Minister, under the leadership of Modi ji, has introduced this Coastal Aquaculture Authority Amendment Bill to 2023. Our minister is very humble and always supporting good ideas, and also is encouraging me. When I am speaking, always our minister is encouraging me.
You are much
you are also going to encourage me to pull the points out what I am going to speak. Sir, under the leadership of Modi ji, there is a revolution that took place in the fishing industry. For example, if you take Indian marine products exports has doubled during this year, these 9 years, from 30 crores to 63 crores, nearly 6 crores. So much increasement is there. Not only that, and also shrimp exports has also been doubled with an increase of 123% under the Modi leadership, sir. I want to tell, from 19,368 crores to 43,130 crores it is reached. That is Modi's achievement. That is the thing we have to highlight, how our present government, Modi is giving importance for this fishing industry. And also this, how it is going to help, that is I want to say, especially fishermen community. Creative livelihood opportunity for the fisher folk by providing access to and sustainable use of common resources will be facilitated through aqua mapping and zone. Providing legal validation of seafood culture and cage culture in coastal waters of rivers, creeks and backwaters will empower the fisher women and fisher families to take up these alternative livelihood activities as a major source of income. The lieu of fishing and coastal agriculture will become a major rural economic activity for the fisher boy. This is Modi's dream, what he wanted to achieve. Sir, you know, whenever I am speaking about the fishermen, their livelihood is affected because they are doing certain old system. That is why the bill has brought to protect them and increase them. Sir, and the other thing, the main thing I used to say, I always mention about the fishermen. During Professor MGR period, he has given lot of support to the fishermen, our party. Same way, our Madam Jayalalitha was also the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu. She sent a proposal to protect this fishermen, to uplift the fishermen, include that fishermen community in the scheduled tribe. This is a very important matter, madam, because fishermen are hunters, fishing in the, taking their life in the sea. So many months they are going there, staying there, leaving their family members. And they are taking a lot of risks. And their economic condition also, poor condition, are suffering. Therefore, that community, because of suffering so many conditions, it has to be treated, that community, as a tribal community. That is our former Chief Minister, and Jalita has already passed this registration in his assembly also, and sent to the central government to consider it. Therefore, I hope that when we are bringing such kind of novel amendment to this kind of aquaculture, this I am presenting Honorable Minister. At the same time, we have to consider the request of the fishermen community, especially in Tamil Nadu. And you make throughout India, where the fishermen, if you are making as a tribal thing, is a very common thing. Very particularly, we are going insisting our fishermen community of Tamil Nadu as we included in the tribal community. That is recommended by the state government, because previously also when scheduled caste bill has come, the Honorable Minister said, if the state government recommends that, it will be considered. Therefore, already our ADMK government, headed by Amma, and also our Edapadi Palanisamy, also 4 years ruled, a good government has given to the Tamil Nadu. At that time, in the interest of the fishermen, he also recommended to see that fishermen committee included in the scheduled tribe community. Therefore, I think that Honorable Minister will recommend to the concerned ministry, which already pending in the thing, to declare them as a tribal community.
Thank you.
And also support this bill. Very valuable thing, suggestions has come. I think it will give the benefit to the fishermen community and also good image to our government of Modi ji government, because he is the fisher like MGR. Now Modi ji also leader of the fishermen. I think. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Dhanyawad. Mr. G.K. Vasan.
Sir, the creation of new Ministry for Fisheries and Animal Husbandry and Dairying recognize the immense potential of this sector, sir. Our Honorable Prime Minister, well knowing about the importance of this, has created a new ministry, and I'm sure, sir, both the ministers here, our senior leader, Mr. Rupala, and our leader from Tamil Nadu, MOS, Mr. Murugan, have done justice to this ministry, because the sector also offers high return. India is the third largest fish producing country with around 8% share of global fish production. Globally, India stands second in aquaculture production and is one of the top shrimp producing and exploring nations, sir. Sir, I would only want to say two important points, sir. One, regarding Tamil Nadu, sir. Tamil Nadu fishermen are subjected to threat by Sri Lankan Navy, and they are scared to go to the sea because of their harassment, sir. Fortunately, sir, we have ministers who understand the plight of the fishermen. The senior minister knows the fishermen plight in Gujarat. The MOS knows the plight of fishermen directly in Tamil Nadu. So, sir, they have taken a very important initiative, national rollout of vessel communication and support system for marine fishing vessels for safety of fishermen at sea. This definitely gives safety to our fishermen, sir, from external forces. Especially, sir, the Government of India under the Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana has approved rupees 364 crores for installing satellite-based vessel communication and support system on 1 lakh fishing vessels, sir, under the Department of Space, Government of India. This, I am sure, sir, this device will ensure the safety and security of our fishermen throughout the country, sir, especially Tamil Nadu. Last 2-3 points, sir, which is very important for the government,
Please.
which has to go to the country.
Samapt kare.
Regarding Tamil Nadu, sir, I am thankful to the ministers that there is special concern given to Tamil Nadu on fishing, sir. Significant achievements, I would like to tell, they have sanctioned upgradation of fishing harbour of Padayar of rupees 26.26 crores, sanctioned construction of 4 integrated fish landing centres of 26.43 crores, sanctioned construction of 10 new freshwater finfish hatcheries, expansion of 235 hectare area of aquaculture sanctioned, also 40 hectare area for biofloc ponds in fresh and brackish water sanctioned, sir. Very important, sir. Sanction acquisition of 50 new deep sea fishing vessels for traditional fishermen, stocking of fingerlings in 6,434 hectare area of reservoirs, sir. Establishment of 13,000 seaward culture rafts.
Thank you,
Likewise,
Mr.
sir,
Vasan.
I can
Thank you.
be going on telling, sir. Last important point, sir.
Most important.
There are lot of pending issues, sir, from the Tamil Nadu government, which the central government seeks, sir. The state has a high unspent balance of rupees 57.83 crore with rupees 135.21 crore in SNA account, which has hampered release funds of our PMMSY during the last 2 financial years, sir. I am sure, sir, with respect to the proposal of Seaward Park approval 2022-23, Government of Tamil Nadu has already requested the Government of India to render necessary assistance in the import of quality seaweed material to enhance seaweed production and to support the seaweed farmers, sir. To conclude, sir, Government of Tamil Nadu is yet to submit the annual action plan of 23-24 under PMMSY. State government has informed the SLAMC has not yet
Thank
been
you,
approved.
Mr. Vasan. Thank
so
you.
I request them to do the needful to the central government, to the ministry, so that more and more help can be done in the ministry to Tamil Nadu, especially the fishermen community, sir. With this,
Dhanyavad.
I support this bill. Thank you very much, sir.
Sri Purushottam Rupala to reply the discussion.
धन्यवाद उपसभापति महोदय। मैं बहुत ही विनम्रता से हमारे माननीय चेयरमैन साहब का धन्यवाद करना चाहता हूं कि उन्होंने अपने अधिकार का प्रयोग करते हुए हमारे बिल को आज प्रस्तुत करने का इस सदन में अवसर दिया। इसके लिए मैं चेयरमैन साहब का सादर धन्यवाद करता हूं मेरे विभाग की ओर से। सर, यहाँ
आपकी चलती है साहब।
आपकी बात को वैसे भी हम पालन करेंगे सर। मैं कुछ बातें कहूं इसके पहले मैं हमारे सुस्मित पात्रा जी, हमारे मस्तान राव जी, रविंद्र कुमार जी, विजय साई रेड्डी जी, सम्माननीय थम्बी दुराई जी और जी के वासन जी का धन्यवाद भी करना चाहता हूं और उसका आभार भी व्यक्त करना चाहता हूं। सर, मैं इस बात का प्रारंभ करने से पहले मुझे हमारे लाडले नेता वाजपेयी जी का एक कथन स्मरण में आता है, चलो जलाए दीप वहाँ जहाँ अभी भी अंधेरा है। ये वाजपेयी जी की बहुत ही प्रसिद्ध उक्ति थी और ये इसलिए बहुत ही उपयुक्त है। मैं एक छोटा सा फिगर दूंगा तो ये सदस्य के सभागृह के सभी सांसदों को और आपके माध्यम से देशवासियों को भी पता लगे। सर, आज़ादी के बाद 14 तक 65 साल का हिसाब लगता है। उसी में हमारे इस विभाग के नाते भारत सरकार की ओर से 3,861 रुपये का खर्च हुआ, 3,861 करोड़ रुपये का खर्च हुआ टोटल, 3,861 करोड़, 65 साल। इतना उपेक्षित कोई विभाग होगा ही नहीं। 8,000 किलोमीटर की हमारी कोस्ट लाइन, 3 करोड़ से ज्यादा हमारे फिशर परिवार, 2 लाख वर्ग किलोमीटर का हमारा EEZ,
और हमारा अंडमान लक्षद्वीप का हमारा समुंदर एरिया, इतने बड़े विस्तार और हमारी इकोनॉमी का आधार, हमारी फिशरमैनों की आजीविका का आधार और समुद्री खेती ये हमारी परंपरा, ये सारी चीजें होने के बावजूद उसी पर दुर्लक्ष्य दिया जाता है। मैं देश के मछुआरे समाज की ओर से प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी का धन्यवाद करना चाहता हूं कि उन्होंने इस विभाग बनाया और इस विभाग को बनाया और विभाग को बनाने के बाद उनको दिशा भी दिया। प्रधानमंत्री मत्स्य संपदा योजना अकेली 20,000 करोड़ के वॉल्यूम, अकेली एक योजना। ब्लू रिवॉल्यूशन के तहत 5,000 करोड़ का एलोकेशन किया गया था। इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर डेवलपमेंट, यहाँ से आज कम चर्चा हुआ कि इस सेक्टर को इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, फिश लैंडिंग सेंटर्स चाहिए, हार्बर्स चाहिए, लॉजिस्टिक चाहिए, स्टोरेज चाहिए, ट्रांसपोर्टेशन फैसिलिटीज चाहिए, रेफ्रिजरेटर वाहन चाहिए। इन सारी चीज़ों को डेवलप करने के लिए, सुविधा देने के लिए 8,000 करोड़ की और फंड की प्रावधान की व्यवस्था किया। और इन सारे जो डेवलपमेंट की बात हमारे मस्तान राव जी और विजय साईं जी ने, और आंध्र से जरा जोर से वो कहते हैं क्योंकि वो आगे हैं, देश का नेतृत्व इस क्षेत्र में कर रहे हैं। इसके लिए मैं वहाँ के फिशरमैनों को और एंटरप्रेन्योर को धन्यवाद भी देना चाहता हूँ कि बहुत ही अच्छी बात आपने किया है। सो ऐसे में सर इनको विभाग को बनाया, और मैं इस बिल के बारे में थोड़ी हिस्ट्री बता दूं सबके संज्ञान में रहे। ये बिल अप्रैल में हमने लोकसभा में प्रस्तुत किया था और वहीं से स्टैंडिंग कमेटी को भेज दिया गया था। मैं स्टैंडिंग कमेटी के चेयरमैन का भी धन्यवाद करना चाहता हूं कि उन्होंने बहुत ही समय से उसका काम पूर्ण किया और रिकमेंडेशन देकर बिल को वापस लौटाया। इस सदन को बताते हुए मुझे बड़ी खुशी हो रही है कि उन्होंने 56 रिकमेंडेशन दिए थे स्टैंडिंग कमेटी ने, उनमें से 45 एक्सेप्ट कर लिए थे हमने डायरेक्ट। ऐसा बहुत कम होता है कि वो स्टैंडिंग कमेटी जो सुझाव देती है उसको मानने का उपक्रम बहुत कम होता है।
उदार दिल है आपका।
जो 11 बच गए सर, उनमें से भी 9 इस प्रकार के थे कि इसके लिए लेजिस्लेचर की जरूरत नहीं थी, अपने को संसद में आने की आवश्यकता नहीं थी, वो रूल्स के हिसाब से हम कर सकते हैं। तो 9 उसी हिसाब से उनका भी समावेश कर लिया गया और हमने इसको स्वीकृति एक प्रकार से दी थी। 2 ही ऐसे थे जिनके लिए हमें सुधार करने की आवश्यकता थी, वो भी सुधार हमने लोकसभा में ऑफिशियल सुधार करके कर दिए। वो बात थी सर, पहले जो अपना बेसिक 2005 का हमारा कानून था, उसमें ये था कि हम 4 कोस्टल स्टेट के प्रतिनिधि को इसमें रखते थे और इसका नियम ऐसा बनाया था कि एक टर्म 4 जिस राज्य के होंगे, दूसरी बार और 4 राज्य के होंगे, ऐसे इसका कंटिन्यूटी में चलता रहता था। मगर कमेटी ने ऐसा आग्रह किया कि इसमें सारे कोस्टल स्टेट के प्रतिनिधि इस कमेटी में होने चाहिए। सो हमने ये बात मान लिया और प्रस्ताव करके अभी कोस्टल स्टेट के सभी प्रतिनिधियों को इस कमेटी में रहने का स्वीकृति हमने कर दी है। मेन इनका सजेशन था। दूसरा एक ऐसा सजेशन था कि सभी जिन लोगों को अनुभव है इनको पता है कि इसमें ये अथॉरिटी जो बनी थी, वास्तव में सर ये हुआ ये था कि एक कोर्ट के जजमेंट से ये सारी इंडस्ट्रीज सख्ते में आ गई थी। उसको इंडस्ट्रीज का दर्जा देकर नो जोन एरिया में कोई इंडस्ट्री नहीं चल सकती, ऐसा करके इन सबको हटा देने का। सर ये फिशरीज का कामकाज समुद्र के तट पे नहीं होगा तो कहाँ होगा? वो वहीं ही हो सकता है, उसी जगह पे ही ये इंडस्ट्री बड़ी पल सकती है, और जगह पे हो ही नहीं सकता। सो इसीलिए इनके लिए एक अथॉरिटी बनाने का भी कोर्ट ने सजेस्ट किया था। इसी में से ये एक्वाकल्चर अथॉरिटी बनी थी, मगर इसके अंदर थोड़े बहुत लचीलेपन की वजह से और ये एनजीटी के नियम के कारण फिर से सख्ते में आ गई थी। मैं तमिलनाडु के प्रवास में था, मुझे बताते हुए कोई संकोच नहीं है, मैं बाजीराव जी वहाँ नहीं थे मगर मैं उनके बीएमसी पर गया था। किसी ने मुझे रास्ते में बताया कि मैंने कहा कि भी मैं इधर ऑन टूर पे हूँ तो कोई बीएमसी हो तो देखे, ऐसे ही मुझे वहाँ ले गए, तभी मुझे पता चला कि ये इनका है। तो बहुत ही अच्छा सेंटर था वो, देखा। मगर उसी समय पता चला कि इन सारी इंडस्ट्रीज पे ये बड़ी एक तलवार लटकी हुई है। वहाँ इंडस्ट्रीज के लोगों ने मिल के मुझे बताया था कि इसके पर कुछ प्रयास किया जाए। प्रधानमंत्री जी के सामने इस विषय रखने के बाद उन्होंने इस बिल को लाकर इस एक्टिविटी को, इस मछुआरे समाज को, इस उद्योग को बचा लेने का हमको निर्देश दिया और आज इसको आप मदद करने का काम कर रहे हैं। मुझे अफसोस है कि आज ऐसे हमारे कोस्टल के इस बंधुओं को जो समुद्र से जूझते हैं, वहां जाके अपनी आजीविका के लिए अपनी जान को जोखिम में डालते हैं, वो अपना व्यवसाय करते हैं। इसके उपरांत मुझे इस ऑगस्ट हाउस के सामने बताना चाहिए कि ये हमारे सीमा के पहले पहरेदार भी है। सारे मछुआरे ये हमारे चौकीदार हैं, हमारी सुरक्षा के पहली एरोल के वो रखवाले हैं। वो सारी इंफॉर्मेशन हमारी सुरक्षा दलों के साथ शेयर करते हैं। अगर इसके संज्ञान में कुछ भी आता है, इसके लिए मैं देश के सारे मछुआरे समाज को यहां से बधाई देना चाहता हूं। सर, ऐसे लोग जहां अभी तक हमारी योजनाएं पहुंची तक नहीं थी, सर मैं एक सागर परिक्रमा कार्यक्रम के नाते इस विस्तार में घूमने के लिए गया बाय बोट। हमारे विभाग ने एक योजना बनाई कि मैं पूरे कोस्टल बेल्ट का प्रवास करूं बाय बोट। सो मैं मांडवी कच्छ से निकला, श्याम जी कृष्ण वर्मा जी की भूमि की मिट्टी को सर पे लगाते हुए मैं समुद्र में पहली बार निकला। सर, तो पता लगा कितनी जगह पे मुझे ये सुनने को मिला कि हम पहले मंत्री जो आप हो कि आपको मिलने के लिए आप फिशरमैनों के बीच में आए। ये मेरे लिए गौरव की बात नहीं है, मगर हमारे देश के लिए सोचने का विषय है। और इसी के चलते कई चीजें हमारे संज्ञान में आई सर, कई जगहों पे हमें देखने को मिला। मैं अपने प्रवास की बात करूं, ये इसके साथ रिलेटेड है इसलिए सर कि कैसा इसका प्रवास का अंदाज होता था। कहीं मेरे कार्यक्रम तो जैसे अपने पुराने कार्यक्रमों की तरह लिखा होता है ना, 2 बजे यहाँ पहुंचना, 3 बजे यहाँ पहुंचना बाय रोड, इसमें बाय बोट लिखा होता है। उसमें आधे घंटे का रूट लिखा हुआ था, एक किसी पोर्ट से बड़े सी में जाने के लिए आधा घंटा। अब मैं पहुंचा 3 घंटे में। तो मैंने पूछा भी आधा घंटा और 3 घंटा इतना डिफरेंस थोड़ा ही होता है प्लानिंग में। आधा घंटा हो 1 घंटा लग जाए समझ में आता है। तब उन्होंने मुझे बताया कि ये सी रफ हो जाता है और इसका करंट उल्टा हो जाता है, तो ये इतना स्पीड से नहीं चल सकता। सो समुद्री ट्रैवलिंग में प्लानिंग करने में उसके करंट को भी हमें गिनती में लेना पड़ता है। वो तो हमें 1 दिन के प्रवास में इस करंट से हमारा इतना हमें टेंशन हो जाता है। तो हर दिन करंट के सामने मौत से बाजी लगाते हुए हमारे मछुआरे समाज का समर्थन करने के अवसर पर विपक्ष यहाँ उपस्थित नहीं है, इनका मुझे अफसोस है। वो भी शायद समर्थन करते, मगर वो तक उन्होंने गवा दिया है, इनका मुझे अफसोस है। सो सर, ये इतने संशोधनों के बाद, ये स्टैंडिंग कमेटी के इतने डेलिब्रेशन के बाद हमें इस बिल को हम यहाँ लाए। इसके साथ मुझे और बहुत लंबी बातें नहीं करनी है, मगर हमारे प्रधानमंत्री जी के दिशा निर्देशों में हमारे इस सेक्टर के लिए, जैसे ये PMMSY की चर्चा हुई और कई चीज़ों की चर्चा हुई, इसमें मुझे बताना चाहिए कि फिशरमैनों को सर आज़ादी के बाद प्रधानमंत्री श्री मोदी जी के कारण किसान क्रेडिट कार्ड देने का अधिकार दिया। सिर्फ किसानों के लिए ये था। यहाँ जो किसान लोग हैं उनको सबको पता है, ये ऋण किसानों को मिलता है जो 7% से इनको उपलब्ध किया जाता है, और वो समय पे भुगतान करने पर 3% भारत सरकार इसका इंटरेस्ट में सब्सिडी देते हैं। ये प्रावधान मछुआरे समाज को भी देने का निर्णय प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी ने किया है, और हम और राज्य सरकार मिलके सारे मछुआरे परिवार को ये ऋण उपलब्ध कराने का हम प्रयास कर रहे हैं। मैं सभी सांसद बंधुओं से मेरा नम्र निवेदन है कि आप अपनी अपनी कॉन्स्टिट्यूंसी में ये केसीसी अपने मछुआरे समाज को उपलब्ध कराने में आप वहां के डिस्ट्रिक्ट के साथ, अधिकारियों के साथ, डिस्ट्रिक्ट लीड बैंकों के साथ बैठ के प्रयास करिए, क्योंकि बैंकों को इसमें कम रुचि है। इसका आप सब लोग नेतृत्व करके हमारे मछुआरे समाज को काम करने में प्रयास करें। सर, मैं ये बिपरजॉय आया था, अभी बड़ा चक्रवात आया था और बड़ा तूफानी चक्रवात था, मगर मुझे ये बताते हुए बड़ी खुशी हो रही है सबके, भारत सरकार के इनिशिएटिव के कारण, राज्य सरकार की सक्रियता के कारण, हमारे जो लोकल गवर्नमेंट से डिस्ट्रिक्ट लेवल का जो एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन होता है, उन सब की सक्रियता के कारण पहली बार इतना बड़ा चक्रवात जीरो कैजुअल्टी के साथ पास करने का भी हमारा देश को एक गौरव मिला। उसी समय सर कैसी सुंदर प्रणालिकाएं हमारे देश में चलती है। मैं सरकार की योजना के तहत द्वारिका पे था, तट पे ही था ये जब चक्रवात चल रहा था तब, तो वहां मुझे द्वारिका मंदिर में, द्वारिकाधीश के मंदिर में बुलाया गया। वहां के सारे लोग और पुजारियों ने मिलकर उसी रात जब सुबह वहां किनारे पे टच होने वाला था, बड़े उफान पे था समुन्दर और गोमती का पानी भी हमारे सर के ऊपर से पानी के फुवारे उड़ रहे थे, ऐसी भयानक परिस्थिति भी थी। उसके बीच में एक श्रीफल और एक चुंदड़ी, वो उसमें उसको अर्पित करने का, पूजा करने का काम करवाया मेरे से। मुझे पता लगा कि सागर देवता को देवता मानकर हमारे तट के लोग इसकी पूजा कर रहे हैं और उसी से अपनी रक्षा मांग रहे हैं। ऐसे सुखद अनुभव हमको मिलते हैं। सर, हमारे ट्रेडिशनल जो फिशरमैन रहते थे, वो जिस बोट से काम कर रहे हैं फिशिंग की, वो दूर समुंदर में जा नहीं सकती है। अपनी सरकार ने मेरे विभाग की ओर से डीप सी फिशिंग के नई टेक्नोलॉजी वाले जहाज उनको उपलब्ध कराने का प्रयास किया है। उसमें हम 1.2 करोड़ की लागत से बनती ये डीप सी फिशिंग बोट उनको उपलब्ध करा रहे हैं। मगर आपके जरिए मुझे ये बताना है कि ये बेनिफिट सिर्फ और सिर्फ ट्रेडिशनल फिशरमैनों के परिवार को ही देने का निर्णय भारत सरकार की ओर से हम कर रहे हैं। उसमें 60% सब्सिडी हम SC/ST के बंधुओं को देते हैं और अदर के लिए 40% की सब्सिडी का प्रावधान है। सर, ये हमारे बाजीराव जी बोल रहे थे, उन्होंने बताया वनामी और ब्लैक टाइगर, अभी मैं इन सब नामों से मेरा परिचय हो रहा है। सो ये वनामी के हमारे यहाँ BMC 4 है, वो चारों 4 आंध्र प्रदेश में ही है और उसी के चलते वहाँ उसका डेवलपमेंट का भी अच्छा कारोबार चल रहा है। हमारी सरकार के आने के बाद एक ब्लैक टाइगर का भी BMC हमने मंजूर किया और ये गुजरात में वैष्णवी एक्वाटेक भरूच डिस्ट्रिक्ट में अभी काम कर रहा है और ये ब्लैक टाइगर का एकमात्र अपना BMC हमारे यहाँ है। मैं अंडमान अभी गया था सर, तो हमारे देश में NBC एक भी नहीं है। अभी एक NBC तैयार हो गया है, वो अंडमान के अंदर अब एपिडा के माध्यम से हमने तैयार कर दिया गया है। बहुत ही 2-3 महीने में ही इसका कॉमर्शियल यूज शुरू करने की तैयारी हमने कर लिया है। तो ये एक बड़े अच्छे, एक जो अभी टेक्नोलॉजी की और जो बातें हैं उसमें एक RFD रिपोर्ट फिश डिसीज ऐप डेवलप किया है। ICR का जिक्र किसी ने किया था, इसके लिए मैं इसको रिस्पॉन्ड कर रहा हूँ बताने के लिए। एक ऐसा ऐप डेवलप किया है, वो डाउनलोड करने से फिश फार्मर अपने फिश फार्म पे अपनी फिश में किसी भी प्रकार का डिसीज आया है तो उसका फोटो निकाल कर अपलोड कर देने से उसको तुरंत रिस्पॉन्ड करके उसको एडवाइस भी दी जाती है और उसको की सारवार करने के लिए और एरिया को सुरक्षित करने के पगले और कार्यक्रम आगे बढ़ाने का प्रयास करने का एक प्रावधान हमने कर लिया है। इसी के कारण किसानों का इस बीमारी का प्रभावी प्रबंधन भी होगा और बीमारियों के नियंत्रण पर काबू करने से उनकी आय को भी फायदा होने की संभावना है। विजय साई जी ने जो बताया है कि इतने बड़े क्रॉप में थोड़ा बहुत नुकसान हो जाने से उनका सारा क्रॉप नुकसान हो जाता है और इसी के चलते उसको इतना बड़ा नुकसान हो जाता है कि वो फिर उठ नहीं सकता। इसीलिए उसमें इंश्योरेंस की प्रावधान करने की दिशा में भारत सरकार बहुत ही गंभीरता से हम प्रयास कर रहे हैं। हम इंश्योरेंस, इसमें अभी कंपनियों को रुचि नहीं है, इसलिए हम इनकी बैठक करके इसमें क्या किया जाए उस पर हम आगे बढ़ने का हम काम कर रहे हैं। इन सारी चीज़ों के बावजूद सर, ये फिशरीज विभाग के माध्यम से देश के फिशरमैनों ने, मैं इस फिगर्स में नहीं जा रहा हूं क्योंकि सबसे ज़्यादा ग्रोथ रेट अभी किसी एक सेक्टर में है तो वो फिशरीज सेक्टर में है सबसे ज़्यादा। और हमारे देश के फूड सिक्योरिटी के लिए, दुनिया की मांग की फूड सिक्योरिटी जो है उसको पूरा करने के स्कोप के लिए हमारा ये विशाल समुद्रीय तट और हमारे ये हरियाणा पंजाब जैसे एरिया जहाँ जमीन बंजर हो रही है, जो क्षार युक्त हो गई है, वहाँ भी ये काम बहुत ही अच्छी तरह से डेवलप हो रहा है और वो एरिया में भी ये एक्वाकल्चर के प्रोजेक्ट बहुत ताकत से आगे बढ़ रहे हैं। इसी के चलते इस सेक्टर को संरक्षित करने हेतु, इस पर कानूनी जो तलवार लटक रही थी उससे इनको मुक्ति दिलाने हेतु और इनके ग्रोथ को आगे बढ़ाने हेतु, और अकेला ही एक्वाकल्चर का मतलब अब सिर्फ श्रिम्प नहीं है, सिर्फ झींगा नहीं है, अब इसमें केज कल्चर भी है, इसमें सीवीड भी है, इसमें पर्ल्स भी हैं, इसमें मोती भी हैं। ये सारे काम अच्छी तरह से कानूनी जरिए हम कैसे कर सके, इसको संरक्षित करने हेतु इस बिल में सारे प्रावधान किए हैं। रविंद्र कुमार को भय लग रहा था कि ये पर्यावरण का वो करेंगे। पर्यावरण के नाम पे इस देश के विकास को रोकने वालों के सामने भी मैं यहाँ से बहुत विनम्रतापूर्वक बोलना चाहता हूँ कि ऐसे लोग कुछ हैं जो ऐसी चीज़ों को आगे लेकर हमारे देश के इंडस्ट्रीज को ख़त्म करने की किसी की एजेंसी के जरिए काम कर रहे हैं, उनको ध्यान में रखना चाहिए। और बहुत ही एक अच्छा प्रावधान हमने इसमें ये किया है सर कि इसमें ऐसा एक पुराने कानून में प्रावधान था कि यदि कोई किसान बिना रजिस्टर किए खेती करने लगता है, झींगा पालन करने लगता है, तो उनको 3 साल की सजा होती। अब वहाँ कोई अबन मछुआरा अपना तालाब बना के उसमें लग जाता तो उसको 3 साल की सजा किसी आदमी के कारण हो सकती थी। प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने पूरे देश के कानूनों में से डिक्रिमिनलाइजेशन का एक बड़ा काम किया है। ऐसे ये कानून में से भी हमने इस धारा को हटा दिया है और अभी ये किसानों को कोई सजा करने का प्रावधान इसमें नहीं रहेगा। उसके लिए कुछ दंड करके उसको रेगुलराइज करने का प्रयास करेंगे, उसको दंड जरूर करेंगे, उसका लाइसेंस भी हम सस्पेंड करने की कोशिश करेंगे और वहाँ कोई विधि ऐसी करेंगे। अब मैं आपको बता दूं कि पहले इसमें सर बायोसेफ्टी के नाम पर 24 घंटे नोटिस के पहले कोई प्रवेश नहीं कर सकता था। इससे क्या होता था कि जब भी कोई नोटिस दे तो ये एंटीबायोटिक के यूज करने वाले लोग वो साफ सफाई करके फिर एंट्री देते थे। अब हमने इस कानून में ऐसा सुधार कर दिया है कि यदि हमें चेकिंग करना होगा भारत सरकार की ओर से तो बिना नोटिस के कभी भी इसके अंदर जा सकते हैं। इसका प्रावधान करके उसको हमने ये जो इनपुट्स थे वो इनपुट्स का पुराने कानून में कोई कंट्रोल करने की व्यवस्था नहीं थी, अब हम इस इनपुट्स को भी इस कानून के तहत ला रहे हैं। इसीलिए उनमें जो भी वो प्रयोग कर रहे हैं उनकी भी जांच करेंगे, उसके जो पैरामीटर्स होंगे उसके पालन अनुपालन कराने की व्यवस्था करेंगे। इसी के चलते मैं मानता हूं कि प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में, किसी ने बहुत सही कहा कि ये अपना ग्रीन रिवॉल्यूशन इस देश ने देखा, व्हाइट रिवॉल्यूशन इस देश ने देखा। मैं बड़ी विनम्रता से कह रहा हूं कि प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में ब्लू रिवॉल्यूशन की ओर हमारा मछुआरा समाज आगे बढ़ रहा है। मैं आप सबसे अपील कर रहा हूं कि इसके अनुमोदन में आप सब हमारा सहयोग करें। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
The question is that the Coastal Aquaculture Authority Amendment Bill 2023 as passed by Lok Sabha be taken into consideration. Those in favor will please say aye. Aye. Those against will please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it. the motion is adopted. We shall now take up clause by clause consideration of the bill. अब हम खंड सह विचार करेंगे. जो निर्देश है वही कर रहा हूं मैं. Clause 2 to 17 stands part of the bill. Those in favor will please say aye. Those against will please say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. The ayes have it. Clause 2 to 17 are adopted. Clause 1, the enacting formula and the title stands part of the bill. Those in favor will please say aye. Those against will please say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. The ayes have it. Clause 1, the enacting formula and the title are adopted. Sri Purushottam Rupala to move.
Sir, I move that the
That
bill,
the bill
to
be
amend
passed.
the Coastal Aquaculture Authority Act 2005 as passed by Lok Sabha be moved to passed.
Motion moved. That is, bill be passed. The question is that the bill be passed. Those in favor will please say aye. Those against will please say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. The ayes have it. The bill is passed. Special mention, Lahir Singh Siroya, Sri Lahir Singh Siroya.
ನಮಗೆ ಮಾತನಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಅವಕಾಶ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಕ್ಕೆ ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳು. ये कर्नाटक अगरबत्ती उद्योग के बारे में ये स्पेशल मेंशन है. अच्छा होता हमारे आदरणीय खड़गे जी भी आज यहाँ होते तो कर्नाटक अगरबत्ती उद्योग को
कृपया
बल मिलता.
शांत रहें. मछली का बिल पास किया है
तो चाय पिलाएंगे.
मछली बाजार बढ़ाने का नहीं. हाँ शिरोया जी.
सर
Please speak.
Sir, I would like to draw the attention of the government to the difficulties faced by the agarbatti industry, which has a market size of around 10,000 crores in India. Crucially, the incense sticks industry, which is a huge export market, employs close to 4 lakh people in my state of Karnataka alone, of which 80% are women. India has emerged as the international hub for the incense industry, and my state Karnataka is the incense capital of the world. The consumption of the incense sticks has transcended traditional and ritualistic uses into modern areas of the wellness, mental health and meditation. Sir, this industry is labor intensive and is vastly helping the underprivileged and marginalized section of our society earn their livelihood, financially empower lakhs of women through the employment. Sir, the incense sticks manufacturers face problem of the raw material, issues of procuring bamboo sticks from the northeast to a southern state like Karnataka. Despite growing competition from the countries like Vietnam and Sri Lanka, Indian incense sticks industries is registering a consistent growth due to their high quality products. However, the industry needs help from the commerce, finance, forest and other ministries. If we do not address the industry's concerns and ward off issues at an early stage, the Indian incense sticks industry risks losing its market share to other South Asian, East Asian and some African countries. Our incense sticks industry is striving towards Atmanirbhar Bharata and employs a large number of rural and underprivileged Nari Shakti. The agarbatti industry and these workers need the support and rescue of the union government across the ministry. सभापति जी आपका बहुत बहुत
धन्यवाद. बहुत लहर सिंह जी. डॉक्टर जान बिटास, नोट प्रेजेंट. श्री KRN राजेश कुमार, नोट प्रेजेंट. लेफ्टिनेंट जनरल डॉक्टर DP वत्स रिटायर्ड.
माननीय सभापति जी, मैं आज अग्रोहा शहर को एक विरासत स्थल और पर्यटक शहर के रूप में विकसित करने की आवश्यकता पर जोर देने के लिए खड़ा हुआ हूँ। अग्रोहा अपनी शानदार संस्कृति, समृद्धि और ऐतिहासिक महत्व के साथ राष्ट्रीय खजाने का दर्जा पाने और प्रतिष्ठित हृदय योजना में शामिल होने का हकदार है। अग्रोहा हमारे राष्ट्र के गौरवशाली अतीत के प्रमाण के रूप में खड़ा है। ऐसा माना जाता है कि यह अग्रवाल समुदाय के प्रसिद्ध राजा महाराजा अग्रसेन की राजधानी थी। यह प्राचीन शहर तक्षशिला और मथुरा को जोड़ने वाले ऐतिहासिक व्यापार मार्ग पर एक स्ट्रेटजिक स्थान पर था। अग्रोहा में पुरातत्विक उत्खनन से एक किलेबंदी बस्ती का पता चला है, जिसमें 4वीं शताब्दी ईसा पूर्व से 14वीं शताब्दी ईस्वी तक निरंतर निवास देखा गया था। अग्रोहा में उत्खनन से वास्तुशिल्प चमत्कारों की प्रचुरता का पता चला है। आवासीय और सामुदायिक घरों के निर्माण में पक्की हुई ईंटों का उपयोग उस युग की उन्नत शिल्प कौशल को दर्शाता है। इसके अतिरिक्त एक बौद्ध स्तूप और एक हिंदू मंदिर का सह अस्तित्व अग्रोहा में प्रचलित सांप्रदायिक सद्भाव और सहिष्णुता की भावना का उदाहरण देता है। ये असाधारण खोजें एक सांस्कृतिक और ऐतिहासिक विरासत स्थल के रूप में अग्रोहा के महत्व को मजबूती से स्थापित करती हैं। अग्रोहा को एक विरासत शहर और पर्यटक स्थल के रूप में विकसित करके हम भारत के सभी कोणों से आगंतुकों को आकर्षित करने की इसकी विशाल अक्षमता का उपयोग करेंगे। मैं भारत सरकार से विनम्रतापूर्ण अनुरोध करता हूं कि अग्रोहा शहर के अद्वितीय मूल्य को पहचानें और हृदय योजना में इसे शामिल करने का समर्थन करें और इसके संरक्षण और बहाली के लिए आवश्यक संसाधन और सहायता प्रदान करें।
धन्यवाद माननीय वत्स साहब। प्रोफेसर मनोज कुमार झा, नोट प्रेजेंट। श्री जग्गेश, नोट प्रेजेंट। श्री विनोद विश्वास, नोट प्रेजेंट। श्री जवाहर सरकार, नोट प्रेजेंट। श्री निरंजन बीसी, नोट प्रेजेंट। श्री अनिल प्रसाद हेंगड़े, note present. The House stands adjourned to meet at 11 a.m. on Thursday, the 10th of August 2023.